Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum, which you should definitely join. Now, we're currently joined by Discord and by a group of people in Google Plus Hangouts on air, but I'm going to do a few shout-outs before I do anything else. Just to the people in Patreon, who deserve a little bit more love than they've currently been getting from me, so I'll do a few shout-outs to them, if I can find the page. There we go, Patreon. So big shout-out to Alistair Main, Chow Young Cat, Christina Barker, Dank, David Wayne Foster, God Rockin', Jeronism, Kirsten Smith, Matt, No Proof, Renee, and that's pretty much it. So big shout out to all of my Patreons. Raise the mic on everyone else. Anyone actually in the Google Hangout?
Yep.
Oh, you are there, just with a mouthful of something.
No, I'm fine. I just finished the toast.
Hello, also people in Discord.
Hello.
You've forgotten Discord.
Is my mic still quiet?
No, you sound good now.
Okay.
Hello to Left the Foot and Earth Shaped. Can't see the rest. Hello. Okay. Got no response from either of them. So for FYI, if you can hear in the Discord stream, when the live show starts, if you don't talk, you're just going to get moved to the after show stream. So yeah, you can sit in there because there's an infinite number of people that can sit in the after show section of Discord. But on the main show, we just want people that are going to have conversation, regardless of what side of the argument they're on. But yeah, so if I don't get a response, you'll get immediately moved to a different room, just so you know.
If they change their mind, do they have to rejoin the show?
No, they can come back in, but if they keep coming in and they don't say hello, it's like somebody who joins the Google Plus. Hold on one sec.
So 10th man, did any one-on-one debates happen so far?
No. I think we're waiting for a few people to come on and see what topic and see which member of the panel wants to take it on. Obviously, I would take on subjects I'm familiar with and let others take ones that they're familiar with, but no, not yet.
Well, yesterday was a bad day too, with Discord failing.
Yeah, there was some technical challenges in the morning with it. You know, you expect that when you're working with technology.
Planarwalk joined us. Hello, Planarwalk.
On Discord?
Ahoy,
Yes.
hoy. I noticed I was pinged.
Oh, sorry, I accidentally mentioned you, Planarwalk. I wanted to mention Nathan Oakley. So I don't know what you came up accidentally typed you. I just wanted to say, yeah, noted on the Nathan Oakley moving us to after show and so on. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk, say something real quick to Nathan Oakley if he's here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I made a video, and I just want to know if you'd be able to get all the fallacies in it correct. Can I send it to you in DMs?
Just tell me.
Scott? Huh?
Just tell me.
What was that? My internet cut out for a bit.
Just tell me. Do I want to sit through a
15
video?
different fallacies. I can't list them all off the top of my head.
Oh, well then don't worry about it.
Okay.
So if you just come to plug a video, is that what you came for? Can you watch my video, please, Nathan? Oh, no. But if you want to tell me what's in the video, I'm more than willing to discuss it with you, being as I'm sat here talking to you right now.
It's direct, or the video was directed at you, and so no, it's just a small 4-minute video that I wanted to see if you could.
Planarwalk, did you listen to what I just said to you?
Correct.
Did you listen to my response? Do I want to watch a video? No. Are you just here to plug your video? It seems so. So rather than plugging the video a second time, why don't you just tell me specifically what it was you wanted me to address? Is your memory so short for a video you've made that you can't remember?
Well, I listed off 15 different fallacies, not 15 different fallacies, or 15 different fallacious arguments in quick succession. So,
give me one of them.
Okay, so the first one. Okay, here's one pretty easy one. That was, I cannot perceive how the Earth could be flat, so therefore it can't be flat. That's a fallacious argument. Which fallacy is it?
It's an argument from ignorance.
Yep. There's 14 other arguments of that are similar. Which
have I made that argument?
No, that's an argument that someone like a globe earther might make. They might say, "Oh, I can't perceive how the Earth could be flat, so therefore it can't be flat."
So what you're saying is you've got a video of what's my fallacy?
Essentially, yeah.
Why?
Because I wanted to know if you could guess all the fallacies correctly.
Probably not. I mean, the fallacies I'm most familiar with are the ones that are utilised by globeheads, as opposed to me just being a fallacy dictionary, which I'm not.
Yeah, I just wanted to see how good you were.
Example of Planarwalk. I can give you a really good example of a real-world application of an argument from ignorance. Sean G doesn't accept Einsteinian gravity by his own admission because he doesn't understand it. So he thinks gravity is a force by Newton. That's an argument from ignorance.
Yeah,
you share his position.
Yeah, so that would probably actually be an argument from ignorance.
So you're just trying to learn more about fallacies? Is that the purpose of this?
Oh no, it's a whole lot of fallacies that I do understand. I just wanted to see if you could get them. That's all.
Oh, it's an ad hominem attack. Testing me to see whether or not I know them. So just a personal attack on me then. Can I
not necessarily
identify these fallacies? That's what the video is about. Just told me the video is about whether or not I can identify them. So it's a personal attack then.
Well, most of them are pretty easy. Like I know that there's a ad hominem attack, there's an ad hominem attack fallacy, and there's a reification fallacy.
What's an ad hominem attack?
Ad hominem is where you attack the person rather than their arguments.
Oh, really? So rather than attacking my arguments, you've made a video about whether or not I personally understand certain logical fallacies, which you've detailed. So that would be an ad hominem fallacy then. The entire video is an ad hominem fallacy. Is that what you're saying? It's not attacking my arguments. It doesn't show us gas pressure without a container, a measured distance to the sun, scientific evidence of gravity. It doesn't attack any of my arguments. It just attacks me and my understanding of fallacy. So an ad hominem in and of itself then. Wow. Amazing. Well,
some of your dismissals of people's arguments does use is by using just saying, "Oh, that's a fallacy," so I'll dismiss it.
Give me an example.
So that's why.
Give me an example. Give me an example where I've just dismissed something, claiming it's fallacy when it isn't.
So sometimes I know that Bob the science guy will talk to you, and then you'll claim that his argument is a fallacy.
Yeah, I'm not asking for the person and circumstances, the example that was claimed to be fallacious specifically.
Let me think real quick, because I've heard it so many times that I can't.
That's a contradiction. You've heard it so many times that you can't remember it. Typically, when I hear things over and over again, I can repeat them verbatim. So that's a contradiction, isn't it? I've heard it so many times. I've heard it so many times, I can't remember to repeat it. What a load of nonsense.
I can't. Well, it's more of I can't remember a specific.
Well, why are you leveling it at me? If you can't even repeat a specific example of me claiming fallacy when one was not committed, then why are you leveling this at me? You can't even give me an example. This is just an outrage. So you're saying I've dismissed one of Bob the Fallacy guy's arguments out of hand when it wasn't a fallacy. Well, what's the example? Oh, there's so many I can't remember. Oh, well, that would be just nonsense then. You've just made it up because you can't give me an example.
No, there was actually one where you claimed that I was begging the question. This was, or something like this, way back when I first spoke to you.
Begging the question from you. So now we've gone away from Bob the... Hold on. We've gone away from Bob the Science guy then.
Yeah, I don't listen to... I sometimes hear certain things and think, oh, okay, that's not a fallacy. And
yeah, like what? You hear certain things and decide they're not a fallacy. That's irrelevant, your feelings and emotions on it, if you can't give me an example and demonstrate why it isn't a fallacy. So go, show me the example, because this is just a baseless assertion fallacy. I.e., you decide that it's not a fallacy, even though you can't give an example and rip it apart as a fallacy or a non-fallacy. You've not given us a thing. You've just said, oh, when you said begging the question to me once. No, you've claimed I stated to Bob the Fallacy guy that he'd used a fallacy when, according to you, he hadn't. Now, unless you can give me a demonstration and example of that, this would be a baseless assertion fallacy. So you've not got evidence to back your claim.
I've got to bring it up on YouTube because I didn't expect to get into an argument right now.
What, you didn't expect to prove what you claim? You thought you could just come here and tell people that I used a claim of fallacy when it wasn't actually the case, and then you weren't expecting to actually prove that? Did you think that I'd just be really pleased? Oh yeah, Planarwalk, your baseless claim that I said someone was using a fallacy when they weren't, that's perfectly acceptable. Don't bother proving it. Why would you be expected to prove this absolutely outrageous nonsense you're claiming about me? Yeah, that would be unheard of, you stupid dick. Yes, I do expect you to prove the baseless assertions you make about me, you stupid little boy. You don't just come here and claim I've done something and then not prove it. Who the hell do you think you are? I claim that you rob banks. There's so many examples of you robbing banks that I can't even remember to give one. Yeah? Is that acceptable, you stupid dick?
I found...
Excuse me? I've just claimed that you rob banks. And there are so many examples of you robbing banks that I can't even remember an example to detail it with an actual specific example. Is that reasonable, Planarwalk?
I mean, if you can't remember all the names of... If I ask you for the name of the bank that...
There's so many I can't remember. There's so many. I've already said. I'll just repeat it like you do. There's so many I can't remember. There's so many examples. I just remember thinking, there's Planarwalk robbing a bank again. That's what I thought when I saw you robbing a bank. There's so many I can't detail them. I mean, obviously it'd be very difficult to get all the security footage, wouldn't it? But obviously it exists because you rob banks. Loads of them. Baseless assertion without any evidence, you stupid boy.
Well, yeah, you would need, if you made that kind of claim...
I'd need evidence, would I, dick brain? Yes. So you've made a claim that I called fallacy on Bob the Science guy when it wasn't. So now you've made that claim, you're telling me it's surprising I'm asking you to provide support for it. Even though in the face of you just saying that if I make it... Shut up! You've just made it plain. If I make a claim you rob banks, it would be expected for me to back the claim. You've come and made a claim that I called fallacy when there wasn't one, but it's surprising to you that you might have to back your shit. Yeah?
Well, I wasn't expecting to get into an argument, but I did find one.
Well, back your evidence. You've made a claim. You've come here and said, have you seen my video where I ad hom you? And I've said, no, I'm not interested. Tell me what you've got. And you've said, well, I remember vaguely you saying, begging the question to me, after detailing that you watched me talk to Bob the fallacy guy, claimed fallacy where there wasn't one, and then you can't demonstrate it. You weren't expecting an argument, you've come and ad-hommed the crap out of me and made baseless assertions about me. Weren't expecting an argument? It sounds like you're spoiling for a fight.
Well, I just did find a time where you claimed fallacy where there wasn't one. From Bob the Science, of Bob the Science guy. Yeah.
There was a time I didn't rob a bank either.
So poking the bear didn't work, Planarwalk.
Sorry, are you going to give us this example? Long pause, no example.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, hello.
So the claim that Bob the Science guy made was only on a sphere is the shortest route between 2 points a great circle route. As the shortest route between 2 points is a great circle route, this is clear evidence that the Earth is a sphere.
That's begging the question and affirming the consequent. Formal logical fallacy. If P then Q, Q therefore P, and assuming the Earth is a sphere. Saying it would only work on a sphere means you automatically assume your outcome that the Earth is a sphere. You started by saying on a sphere and made a conclusion that that means only works on a sphere. That's begging the question. If P then Q therefore P. If P then Q, Q therefore P. Affirming the consequent. Formal logical fallacy. Are you retarded or do you just not understand fallacy?
Keyword there is only on a sphere.
Yeah, that's called begging the question. You're assuming that it can only work on a sphere. Conclusion, Earth is a sphere. That's begging the question, you stupid boy. Are you this stupid?
So...
No, answer me. Answer me. Stop! Don't continue to make your baseless assertion about me, you stupid boy. That was absolutely a fallacy. Not only a fallacy, two fallacies in one. Affirming the consequent and begging the question. So your baseless assertion was wrong. Are you going to apologise to me, you little shit?
Well, one of the things that you would have to do now, the onus is on you to provide an example where it can't.
I just did! If P then Q, Q therefore P is the example you just gave. If the Earth is a sphere, then we will have these flights. We have these flights, therefore the Earth is a sphere. That's an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. It also assumes its outcome, the Earth being a sphere. It's also begging the question. This is absolutely a double trouble logical fallacy. So where you claim that it's not, it is, you stupid boy.
So, first off...
Shut up, stupid little dick.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined... Oh, shout out to Colin Turner for the super chat. Says, nice shirt. Thank you very much indeed. We are joined by Sleeping Warrior, Flatzoid, 10th Man, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. Very good to have you all.
Good to be here.
Hello.
Yo, yo.
Good afternoon. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Any signs of Earth curvature?
No.
No, not yet.
None.
Definitely not.
Discord, looking at you. Who have we got? Planarwalk. Any evidence of Earth curvature? Planarwalk?
Well, I'd say that there is, but you wouldn't agree with me, so.
Lay it on us, Earth curve boy.
What was that?
Tell us.
So, there's things by observations by Miles Davis a while back, which showed Earth curve.
We're going to need a bit more detail.
So, what he did is he set up a camera at a height of 210 meters, I think it was, and then there was a object that had a height of 210 meters in the distance, and the mountains further behind that, which were higher than 210 meters, were actually below the 210 meter object.
Shout out to K Pol for the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Shout out to Earth is Seriously Flat. You have destroyed all globe lovers. Viva Nathan. Thank you very much, Earth is Seriously Flat, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Okay, so you've got a mountain that's lower than another mountain. What's the cause of that?
Well, what it looks like is the mountain has sunk behind another object.
Yeah, we heard that.
Yeah.
I said, what causes that? What's the cause?
It would appear to be Earth curvature.
And how have you validated that cause?
Well, the mountain, which is higher than this bridge tower, I think it is, should appear to be higher than the bridge tower when the camera is at a height of 210 meters, which is the same height as the top of the bridge tower.
Should be according to what?
This would be according to how perspective works.
According to how perspective works? Or how do you come to the conclusion of Earth curve then?
Nope.
Hold on. If it's how perspective works, then it's perspective, right?
Well, if the Earth were flat, then you'd expect to see according to what we know about perspective, you'd expect to see the mountain above that 210 meter point on the tower.
And how have you validated that claim?
What do you mean?
How have you validated that cause that you have just asserted? How have you validated that claim?
So
far, I'm not getting any Earth curve out of this. So far, I'm getting perspective. This doesn't affirm Earth curve. I don't really know where this is going, but I don't seem to be hearing much about Earth curve.
So, according to what we know about perspective, if the Earth were flat, you'd expect to see. I think the mountains are about 900 meters high or something. So you'd expect to see 700 meters of the mountain above the top of the bridge tower.
Why? Have you accounted for all of the atmospheric conditions? Have you got the measurements for all of those conditions on this image that we've not seen?
Yeah, there's quite.
Have you accounted for all factors when claiming perspective? I don't really understand still why we're having this conversation, given that the question is any signs of Earth curve, but nevertheless, I don't really understand how you validated any of this.
Well, he was at 210 meters high, so that would eliminate a lot of atmospheric conditions.
You having me on? You think the height adjusts the atmosphere? No. Atmosphere is still
It
absolutely.
eliminates
Hold on.
things like
Atmosphere
looming
is still
or...
absolutely between him and his observation, is it not?
What's that?
Atmosphere is still there. It's not disappeared because he's gone higher, has it? So atmosphere would need to be accounted for, and I'm asking quite directly if you have the measurements for all the atmospheric conditions that would be at play. Have you got all of those?
No, I don't have all the measurements for
Why not?
all the atmospheric conditions that are in play.
Well,
but
why not? So you're just going to say that they're... Hold on. So you're just going to say they're not relevant because of his height? Well, that's total nonsense. So one of the major considerations that we get thrown at all the time is this thing called refraction. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, given that you're just going to whistle past it, there's an effect of refraction called sinking that could cause that. And you're just going to say you're going to whistle past it and blame it on something else. I mean, you haven't blamed it on anything yet. You've just said perspective. Given that the question's any signs of Earth curve, this is pretty useless.
So I was about to say about that, and because of his height, you would expect to see less sinking or looming or whatever when it comes to refraction.
Okay, so what you're saying is we see more or less sinking that you haven't verified. This has nothing to do with Earth curve. You're just backing everything that Ranty does.
Well, you'd expect to see less of it because of his height.
I'm still talking. You're just backing everything that Ranty does. So yeah, we can change what we see depending on our position. Well, what's the claimed cause of that? So far, perspective and atmospheric conditions. The question on the table, Planarwalk, is any signs of Earth curve?
Yeah, this would be an effect of Earth curve.
Oh, you just said it was an effect of perspective and refraction that you're going to ignore. So it is an effect of Earth curve. And how have you validated that?
Well, that's a false dichotomy you're putting out there. Just because it can be an effect of one thing doesn't mean that it can't be an effect of another thing.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking you how you validated what you've claimed. Shout out to Truth in Your Face. I wonder if Planarwalk will be doing an encore game show appearance, lol. Yeah, there are various things that can cause stuff. That's correct, Planarwalk. I specifically have asked how you validated your claims. So far, we've got 3. Perspective, refraction, and Earth curve. You haven't validated any of them as far as I can tell. You're just throwing this crap into the air.
So refraction's been minimized by his height.
No, it hasn't. He's still got refraction, he's still got atmospheric conditions to take into consideration. Those things aren't just going to be whistled past with a claim of height. Yeah? You take refraction indexes by getting the temperature differentials of all of the different layers that are claimed in your model. Yeah? That's how you get that. So I'd need to see temperature differentials every foot between you and the observer so I know precisely what the weather's going to do to this observation. That's absolutely something that can cause things. Sinking, looming, various other effects. So we're going to not whistle past them and claim height suddenly disavows all atmospheric conditions. No, it doesn't. If I'm in thick fog and I go up higher, I can still be in thick fog.
Yeah, and I do get where you're coming from.
Right, so let's not worry about that. What have you validated? Answer 0. You've just got a picture and your fundy assertions of perspective and refraction and Earth curve, none of which you validated. Literally none.
So do you think that...
Why are you asking me something? Any signs of Earth curve? This is what we've got. A claim, a baseless assertion fallacy with nothing to support it. Wowee. Can we move on, or have you actually got any signs of Earth curve to give us? So far, not so good, Planarwalk.
There was another one quite a while back from a higher altitude balloon from... I can't remember the name that actually... I can't remember the name of the person that actually put it up, but it was mirrored on Scientism's channel.
What was? Oh, this is like pulling teeth.
What was that?
It's like pulling teeth. What was? What's your claim? Claim, then support. So make your claim. I claim I have a picture of Earth curving. What's your support of it? Well, just this picture here. Well, that was the same as the claim would be my reply. You know, that's how it should progress.
There was a video that was put on, uploaded to YouTube, and Zionism mirrored it, and it shows Earth curve in a high altitude balloon.
And how did you validate that?
Oh, AB Science did a nice job of going through and showing all the amount that it's curved.
Amount what's curved?
The amount that the horizon is curved.
What's the horizon? What's the horizon?
The horizon is where the sky meets the ground, or appears to meet the ground.
Appears? So it doesn't actually then, so it's an apparent location then. So who cares what an apparent location does? The horizon, an apparent position curving, you're saying that's proof of Earth curve? No. It's an apparent location.
But Nathan, you said you're going to let other flatties talk to the ball earthers and tackle these situations.
Just doing housekeeping.
Can I handle
just doing housekeeping.
Oh, housekeeping, sorry.
Yeah. Any signs of Earth
curve?
Can
I just ask him about this?
Any signs of Earth curve? That's what I've asked. And so far...
I just want to ask him about...
I just want to go do the housekeeping. And then free for all, if you want to... Okay, right. As soon as we're done with housekeeping, plan a walk. Spurs wants to have it out with you. Is that good by you?
Yeah, if it can be quick, though, because I want to get to bed.
Okay, well, we'll deal with it quickly. The horizon's not something that you can measure and claim is the leading edge of a sphere unless you beg the question, because it's not. It's the apparent position where the sky meets the ground, even though the sky doesn't meet the ground. So, yeah, can we whistle past this? You happy that it's been smashed into next week, plan a walk? Or are you going to now spend 5 minutes telling me how an apparent position is actually your reified Earth curve edge?
Well, normally I would try and explain, but I don't. Well, as I said, I'm tired and wasn't expecting to get into an argument. So
get into an argument? I just explained that you've reified your globe belief into the leading edge of a sphere, which is actually the apparent position, apparent, not actual position, where the ground meets the sky. The ground doesn't meet the sky. That never happens. So it's not something that you can say, look, the apparent position where the ground meets the sky is curving, therefore that's my fundamentalist religious belief in a sphere proven. It isn't. Did you want to continue this discussion and rebut my absolute demolition of this claim? Or can we move on, Planet Walk? If you feel that my rebuttal is unfair and that actually an apparent position is the leading edge of your sphere belief, then tell me all about it. If not, I'll ask for the next question in housekeeping.
Yeah, if I was more awake, I'd probably be able to address that. But yeah, we'll move on.
More awake? What are you going to do? You're going to turn a reified position that's not actual into your fundy belief, or are you going to accept that a not actual position bending means nothing? Because that's my rebuttal, saying I'm too tired. If I had a better brain and I was more awake, I could actually address your a demolition of this claim, which is what I've just done.
Well, you know, if you wanted to, I mean, it would be entertaining to see you try and debate at I don't know, 1 a.m. in the morning, but you know, that would probably wouldn't.
This isn't
wouldn't look too good for you. But you know.
Who cares? Either you can address my rebuttal or you can't. I don't care how tired you are. I've got 2 kids. Do you think I ever get any sleep? Don't answer that.
Well,
don't answer. Any signs of axial rotation?
No.
Discord, any evidence that Earth's spinning?
Any signs of axial rotation?
Of the Earth-based rotation.
So that would be things that show that the Earth is rotating, right? Like a gyroscope?
Claim support.
What was that?
For Planarwalk, are you asking us what axial rotation means right now?
I'm just saying that's so evidence for axial rotation. That would be something like a gyroscope moving at 15 degrees per hour, right?
Gyroscope
That would
moving
be
at 15
the
degrees an hour.
Earth. Planarwalk,
Okay, right.
the Earth.
No, we've got. Let's just get his claim. Let's just get it done. I want to get to the end of housekeeping, and then Spurs and Chocolate can go at it with Planarwalk on whatever he wants to claim. But the housekeeping, I just want to rattle through it. Second question. So, axial rotation of the Earth-based variety. Your claim, gyroscopes. What's your support?
So one would be 15 degree per hour drift on a gyroscope.
Okay, a gyroscope drifts 15 degrees an hour. Why does that happen?
Well, that would be because it's that would be because the gyroscope itself isn't moving and the Earth is.
The Earth rotates underneath.
Can I ask a question?
Let me just demolish this, then we'll go on to the next housekeeping question. Just let me demolish it, then we'll go on to the next housekeeping question. If the Earth rotates underneath a gyroscope, that would be a claim of Coriolis effect. Two separate reference frames. Earth rotates underneath, gyroscope stays in the fixed frame of its own reference. So, if the Earth rotates under a gyroscope, then the Earth rotates underneath a helicopter, plane, or anything else in that reference frame. It just doesn't.
So this is
Nathan.
So when it comes to a gyroscope, that's different. Well, a ring laser gyroscope, to be more specific. That's different to a plane, because a ring laser gyroscope, that's not going off of the Coriolis effect. At least I don't think it is. I'd have to look more into that.
Right. Can I ask you a question about that?
It's a demonstration of the Coriolis effect. That's what you're claiming. You're claiming a Coriolis proof. You're saying it demonstrates two reference frames. One fixed, one with the Earth rotating underneath. Same with the pendulum. Two reference frames. Same with the bullet that's supposed to deviate because it's in the second reference frame. So would a plane. Or anything else in the second reference frame.
And planes do.
Oh, so what you're saying is planes do suffer the effect of the Coriolis effect. Well then, if that was the case, the Earth would be rotating underneath, and you'd have ludicrously short durations of travel as the Earth rotated underneath and the continent came towards the plane as it flew through the air in the second reference frame. That doesn't happen, ever. Earth does not rotate underneath aeroplanes.
So there are flights that are shorter one way than the other way.
Oh, really? To the tune of 1,000 miles an hour at the equator? And you have planes that are going backwards at the equator? That also happens, does it? 500 miles an hour plane is losing... So you've got on the equator, 500 mile an hour plane losing 500 miles an hour because it's fighting Earth turn. You stupid idiot.
So no, what's happening is because the way that it works is the plane has retains the velocity of the Earth when it takes off, right? So when it's at the equator, it has this 1,000 mile per hour velocity. So as it goes towards the poles, then it actually still retains that 1,000 miles per hour or some of it, because it's got to work against the atmosphere.
What if it's travelling west? What if it's travelling west? What if the runway faces west? Does it retain 1,000 mile an hour backwards?
So yeah, it will retain the...
It will retain the spin in the opposite direction, will it? So it'll take off going 1,000 miles an hour backwards. This doesn't work.
So...
hello? This does not work. This does not happen. Planes do not retain 1,000 miles an hour velocity of the spin of Earth when travelling west. That's nonsense.
Well, it does retain the velocity, because otherwise it would just, as soon as it would take off, it would go.
So if it retains the velocity, How are you seeing any apparent deviation then?
So when a plane goes from the equator north, it will actually deviate off its path.
Yeah, because you're claiming the Earth rotates underneath. Well, it doesn't only occur if you're travelling north. I've just asked what happens when they travel west. It takes off going west.
Directly west,
Listen. According to you, a plane takes off going west and suddenly is fighting 1,000 miles an hour turn in the opposite direction. It's not retaining the speed because it's going in the opposite direction. This is nonsense.
It doesn't have to fight it though, because it's...
Oh, it doesn't? Well, yeah, it would absolutely have to if it was real. It just doesn't because it isn't. It's not turning. There are no demonstrations of Coriolis effect beyond fundamentalist religious assertions of gyroscopes and pendulums and bullets, because anything that actually has any significant hang time, like an aeroplane, drone or helicopter, experiences absolutely no effect whatsoever. Continents do not come towards planes as they fly through the air because the Earth rotates underneath. That does not happen.
Well, there are flights that are shorter because of the Coriolis effect. One way than the other way.
No. The Coriolis effect is an apparent deviation because of a second reference frame. Not because of tailwinds, which is the only thing that could cause a flight to be significantly different. If you've got 1,000 miles an hour spin of the Earth underneath a plane, you'd have planes taking off the equator and immediately losing 500 miles an hour and watching the Earth turn underneath them at the tune of 500 miles an hour at full speed. It's absolutely preposterous.
So, first off, flights do retain the velocity that the Earth has. So
Citation.
This is just general physics.
Citation, please. Citation. I'm sick of this. Cite it. Cite where it says planes retain Earth spin velocity when leaving the ground. Cite that. Then support it with evidence.
Give me a few seconds. So here's a good physics thing which is for beginners, so you should be able to easily understand it. Why can't a plane fly slowly and let the Earth pass underneath? Put it in the live stream chat.
This has gone so far off the rail of the original setup. Can I please ask my question now?
Wait your turn.
Yeah, there's no really.
My God.
This is housekeeping, Arwen.
My question was about that.
No, but so does Spurs and Chocolate, and they're waiting patiently.
Don't see anything in live chat. You're going to post it in Discord?
Yeah, I posted it in live stream in Discord.
Live stream.
It's in the live chat. It's called "Why Can't a Plane Fly Slowly and Let the Earth Pass Underneath?"
Okay, right. Give me a citation out of it. This is an entire reference. What specific part do you want me to look at?
So it says here, the reason an airplane can't just idle and let the ground pass underneath is the same reason why a ball dropped from a tower lands at the base of the tower and not next to it. A plane sitting on the ground is moving with the surface of the Earth, and while it appears to us at rest, it is actually moving 1,000 miles an hour. The exact value depends on your latitude. When it takes off, it still has speed from sitting on the ground. In order to fly east, the plane increases its speed relative to the surface of the Earth and begins to overtake it. Flying west, it decreases its speed relative to the surface of the Earth, and the Earth slips by.
But that would imply that the continents are travelling towards the plains. And you'd have massively reduced travel time to the tune of 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. Give me one example where this is demonstrated in a flight.
Well, there's also...
Did you hear what I just asked
for?
It's saying the Earth rotates underneath these...
Which is a little
Excuse me. It's saying the Earth rotates underneath the flights. That's a claim of Coriolis. Correct. That's what should happen. Now show me an example of that.
So here's a citation from the same same site that says, why do airplanes take longer to fly west than east? It's intermediate, so it may be a little harder to understand, but I'm certain you'll get it.
Give me a citation. Don't just tell me to read your entire reference. I want the citation specifically, then I want the backing for it, the evidence that shows that what they claim is true. They're claiming the Earth rotates underneath the plane, so I want you to give me an example of that.
This is not a pseudoscience sumo wrestling contest.
Don't just claim it.
Actually supply.
So let's say let's get a few flights from LA to flight time LA to New York.
Hold on, does what you've posted not give you any examples that they give?
I don't think it does, which is why I'm going to give.
They don't cite any examples. They just throw it out there.
Well, it explains why we're seeing what happens. So, okay, so there's. So yeah, here we go. So 12:30 to 9:10 a.m. American. It's going to be hard to find the exact flight. The exact same flight. American.
Saying it increases its speed to overtake the spin of the Earth. So you're saying that these planes can fly at 1,500 miles an hour? That's what it's saying. Well, it has to overtake the spin of the Earth.
Yeah,
well, in the reference frame of outside of the Earth, but within the reference frame of the Earth, it's flying at a speed that's in the reference frame of the Earth. It's flying at the speed whatever we measure it as.
Yeah, 1,500 miles an hour at the equator it would need to overtake the spin of the Earth and reach 500 miles an hour cruising speed. So you're saying that it can go faster than the spin of the Earth, 1,500 miles an hour, according to this article.
It's all due to reference frames. You see, I can walk down a plane flying at the speed that it's going, but I can never walk at a speed of 500 mile an hour or however fast planes go.
Look, listen
but
listen to
walk down the aisle perfectly comfortably.
Just listen, you're just talking nonsense. According to this article, the plane has to overtake the spinning speed of Earth's rotation. In order to do that and reach 500 mile an hour, approximately, it's got to go 1,500 miles an hour at the equator in order to overtake the spin of the Earth. So you're claiming, according to this article, airliners that go 1,500 miles an hour.
So,
do they as this just yes or no? Just yes or no? Do planes, as this article states, have to increase speed to overcome the speed of the spinning Earth? Yes or no?
Yes.
Show me a plane doing 1,500 miles an hour airspeed.
Well, it's already got the velocity of the Earth, so it only needs to
going the
increase
other way. Hello, going against it. Yeah? If it's going against it, going against the spin. If it's going against the spin at the equator and it just takes off and the ground's going underneath it at 1,000 miles an hour, then in order to make up any ground at all, in fact, in order to stay stationary, literally to do nothing, it's got to go 1,000 miles an hour. In order to go faster, it's got to go 1,500 miles an hour to actually be achieving 500 miles an hour across the ground. So, show me a 1,500 mile an hour flight. Show me a flight that takes off and has to increase speed as the ground underneath it is causing it to go backwards until it overcomes the speed at 1,001 miles an hour and then starts to gain the ground that it's lost going backwards while it increased speed.
I never said that the ground makes it go backwards?
It's going the opposite
Listen,
way.
Nathan.
It's going away from the spin. So the plane takes off, and underneath it, according to this article, the spin of the Earth carries on underneath the plane, and it's got to increase its velocity to overcome the spin of the Earth. Well, if it's taking off at, say, 150, 200 miles an hour, then it's got a deficit of 800 miles an hour. So in other words, it's going 800 miles an hour from your position on the ground backwards. So then it increases speed to 1,000 miles an hour, and then it's stationary in relation to the spinning Earth underneath. Then it's got to increase to 1,500 miles an hour to overcome the spin. This is absolutely preposterous.
So, Nathan, have you ever walked down the aisle of a plane?
Do planes do 1,500 miles an hour to beat Earth spin, Planarwalk? Yes or no?
Let me ask you, have you ever walked down the aisle of a plane?
Yes, don't ask me, you wiggly little sod. Just answer my question.
It's relevant to my...
Well, no,
it's
don't
relevant to
rumpus
my
me.
point.
Don't rumpus me, globehead. Do planes first take off at 200 miles an hour and then have an 800 miles an hour deficit at the equator, and then speed up to 1,000 miles an hour to go nowhere, stationary, and then speed up to 1,500 miles an hour to actually gain some ground that they'd lost after taking off? Does that happen?
So it doesn't happen in the way that you said. It retains the 1,000 mile an hour that it has from moving with the Earth.
Yeah, but if it's going against the spin, then it's not retaining it. It's the opposite direction. So in other words, it takes off at 200 and it's not retaining 1,000 miles an hour. It's going the other way. So it's losing 800 miles an hour. Hello?
No,
No, Nathan, I think what happened.
Asking me if
I think all planes take off with the rotation, so they all get that 1,000 right. Planner, they all take off with the ball, and then once they're in the air, they can turn around and then not be as affected. Right?
What are you talking about?
Well,
no.
Well, then
you got runways
if you
facing
go with the ball at 1,000 miles an hour.
What the hell are you talking
take off.
about? Sorry, Spurs, have you got any citations for this? Or are you just making this up? Show me an example. According to Spurs, while he rumpuses the hell out of me, every single plane takes off in the same direction as Earth spin and then turns around. And then once they've got up to their 500 mile an hour speed, they start fighting 1,000 miles an hour on the equator, do they, Spurs?
That's what I'm saying, Planner.
Spurs, you're not helping. Spurs,
that's not at all what I'm trying to say.
You're not helping. Okay. Spurs, yeah, you've cited this. Sorry. Well, Spurs just ruins. Right, you've cited this. This says that they have to fight and increase their velocity to overcome the spinning Earth. That's what this article says.
So, what
I'll read it. Let me read it.
About that.
I'll read it.
Right.
I'll read it. Let me read it. The plane increases its speed relative to the surface of Earth and begins to overtake it. So before it does, it's going backwards. If it's not going the same speed as it and has to increase speed to overtake it, it's initially going backwards. Oh my God. Who wrote this article?
Did you literally not comprehend what you were reading there?
I can read words in English. The plane increases its speed relative to the surface of Earth and begins to overtake it. Full stop. Well, if it's not going, if it's not going initially at 1,000 miles an hour, when it's going against the spin and it's only taking off at 200 miles an hour, then relative to the spin, it's doing 800 miles an hour backwards.
So you have just shown that you didn't actually understand the sentence you just read out.
The plane increases its speed relative to the surface. I understand that perfectly fine. Of the Earth. I understand what that means. And begins to overtake it. So, before it wasn't going as fast. Now it is. Going faster than it. Overtaking it.
So it doesn't say that it wasn't going as fast. All
Well,
it's saying is
that's
that
just matter of
it
fact.
was going at the same
I'm saying
speed
it.
as the
Matter of fact, if it's going in the opposite direction, it's got a net loss of 800 miles an hour. Yeah, this makes seeming sense if you're travelling off the planet, alleged planet, in the direction of the alleged spin. It all goes to shit when you turn the plane and have the opposite direction and taking off in the complete opposite direction against the spin. Then it doesn't work at all. Because it's essentially taking off with a net speed of 800 miles an hour backwards.
So it's always relative to the Earth. So if it's trying to go from so it's trying to. I'm just trying to.
Shut up! I'm sick of this. You're a bonehead. We've ripped this to pieces 5 times. We've ripped it apart.
No, you just don't understand it.
What do you mean I don't understand it? I've asked you to cite it. You've told me to just go and read it. So I've let you babble on for a few seconds, gone to a particular section that does not support your argument because you don't have planes with a net loss of 800 miles an hour. And according to this, it's got to increase speed to overtake the spinning Earth speed. That's what it says in black and white. Now, unless you can take me to a part that absolutely backs what you claim it does, not that there's any examples linked here, not that there's any proof, not that this is from an aviator.
Well, I've actually it's really hard to do things on the fly during a debate, but I'm actually setting up a Google Sheet so that I can
What the hell are you talking about?
go ahead and
I haven't got a thing. I haven't got anything in front of me. I am completely barehanded. I've got nothing. I've got nothing to hand. I've not even got a keyboard in front of me to do a Google search. What do you mean you don't expect... Is this like when you came and made your baseless assertion in the pre-show and you didn't expect to have to back it? Yeah, if you come here and make claims, you're absolutely expected to understand the claims and be able to back them. Yeah, that's part of a debate. I mean, are you this stupid that you come and go, oh, I've got the thing I'll have to work on the fly to back my nonsense fundy belief, and when I did do it on the fly, it was quite difficult to actually back my claim. Yeah, that just means you've lost.
Well, you can actually look up the flight times from New York to LA, and actually you can go and if you were to go and put them in a Google Sheets, you could actually find how the average flight time from LA to New York and the average flight time from New York to LA, and show that the Coriolis effect is playing a part with those flights.
Oh, really?
And you've done that? You could do that, or you have done that? Is this another...
I haven't done that.
Hold on.
I haven't done that yet, but something that just by looking at a few of the flights, I can say that it looks like it's shorter one way than the other.
Shut up.
Yeah, you're presupposing it. That's very nice.
And you're saying at a glance it looks like, and I apply my presupposition of Coriolis. That's what you're saying. You've not done any actual studies. You've not compiled any actual information. You've not actually validated your claimed cause of Coriolis in these differences that you seem to see at a glance. You've not done anything. Is this going to be shocking?
That's why I'm creating a spreadsheet.
Is it going to be a shock when I ask you to actually back anything you claim here, and you fail miserably every single time and say, I didn't expect to actually have to back a claim?
Okay.
So,
can I say something too? Have you accounted for airspeed or wind speed at different altitudes and factoring in the aircraft altitude and all that stuff when you've done this?
Of course he hasn't.
No, he obviously hasn't. He just said he basically did an on-the-fly estimate.
Had a quick look at the times.
This is based on averages, so it's, sometimes it will be faster, sometimes it will be slower.
Oh,
but
so
these
it
are
doesn't
the.
back you at all, then?
Right, yeah, it's just timey-wimey, wobbly.
Nonsense. I've had enough. 40
Right,
minutes
so
in.
can I now ask a question about the original statement, supposedly?
Go ahead. We're not going to get to the end of housekeeping,
So, yeah.
clearly.
Because he brought up the supposed ring laser gyroscope, so I wanted to ask a question about that supposed conclusion that would prove the spinning of the Earth. So when this test with that gyroscope has been done, what was the orientation axis of the apparent displacement of the of that gyro? What was the axis of it in relation to the Earth?
I don't I don't remember, honestly.
Really? So it's just, it rotates. It doesn't really matter. Just that it rotates means automatically, no matter where you are on the presupposed spinning ball Earth, if it rotates, yeah, that just proves that it rotates. Doesn't really matter how it's oriented. Is that it?
I suppose it might make a difference how it's oriented.
It might, you say? It seems that your
Yeah,
argument wasn't really thoroughly thought through.
I'm pretty sure, and this is just going off memory, I'm pretty sure that planes have 3 of them to measure all 3 different rotations that are, pitch, yaw, and roll of the plane.
Oh, absolutely. I know they have. That's the function of a gyroscope, but we were talking about that ring laser gyroscope that has that natural deviation. So I was wondering, what was the orientation of the deviation? What was the axis of the spin, the apparent spin? And because what I can think of, what I remember of it, is that the axis of that ring laser gyroscope spin was actually perpendicular to the Earth. And unless you are on the presupposed North Pole point or South Pole point on this spinning ball Earth, that doesn't make any damn sense. I'm just saying.
I like to ask ball earthers, Planner, is this a belief, or do you know for a fact the Earth is a globe?
So when I initially looked into flat Earth, there were a few
forget flat Earth, just about the globe. Do you know for a fact 100% we live on a spinning globe, or do you just kind of believe what they told us? How do you see it? That absolutely.
First, before you start to waltz over this, can I please have a response first to what I said?
Yeah, Spurs was in line first, actually, Armin, which is why I didn't stop him. But yeah, no offense, Spurs. If you're just going to ask him about his general beliefs and how he came to flat Earth, he's made a claim. Armin's asking him for support. Just go ahead, Armin.
Mm-hmm. So how, if the orientation of the apparent rotation of the ring laser gyro in a stationary on the Earth, basically presumed, then how can that orientation prove a very specific spinning orientation of the presupposed globe Earth? Because that would it should be rotating on a non-perpendicular axis pretty much anywhere, if that were the case. And I don't think it does.
What was the question again? You cut out for a bit for me. I've got shit internet now for some reason.
Right. So the ring laser gyroscope, that automatic spin that it does, if you're gonna assume or presuppose that is due to the spinning of the Earth, then it requires certain aspects, namely that the orientation of its apparent spin needs to be perpendicular to the actual spin of the Earth and not perpendicular to the surface of where it is at the time when it's doing that.
He did answer. He said he doesn't remember the axis, Arwin. He did answer.
Oh, I do remember because I asked Bob.
No, he says that he doesn't know the axis, where the gyro was.
Right. So I am telling him. So I am telling him because I do know.
Okay, go on then, Arwin. Make
your point. Did Bob Nodal provide an axis that it was?
He's just Arwin's saying he's asked Bob. Now he's going to explain what it was, presumably.
Oh, it was rotating perpendicular to the Earth in relation to where it was, and not in relation to the presupposed axis of the world, where it would only spin perfectly perpendicular on the North and South Pole. But I'm pretty sure it was done in America, which is not close to the North or South Pole.
Okay, Arwin. Have you got a rebuttal to that Planarwalk?
I don't have much of a rebuttal because I'd need to look into it a bit more to analyze it and see what's going on here.
Of course he doesn't. This is where the therapy comes in, Planner. Because I was talking.
Hold on, right before Spurs gets into giving him bloody therapy, right? The gyroscope claim is simple. It's a claim of the Coriolis effect. It's demonstrating or claiming to demonstrate two separate reference frames. Ring laser gyro, normal gyro, mechanical gyro, or pendulum. It makes no difference what the tools and apparatus used to make this claim are. They are claimed to be demonstrating the Coriolis effect. Two reference frames. If the Earth rotates under the gyro, then it must rotate underneath aeroplanes. And when you get to the point that they actually concede, as Planarwalk did in this instance earlier, that they do have a rotating Earth going underneath planes, suddenly you've got to explain how planes aren't fighting against 1,000-mile-an-hour spin at the equator and why continents aren't coming towards planes. So that is the conclusion. We don't have an Earth-based Coriolis effect. Nothing with any significant hang time is ever affected by Coriolis. The only claims that are made are with apparatus or things with limited hang time to make the point that the Earth does spin underneath, even though it does not.
So
I want to move on with housekeeping now that we're back on track and Arwen's had is out with you and we've got to the point that Spurs wants to give you therapy. The only person that got left out was Chocolate.
Because this guy's under immense pressure right now.
I don't care.
His friends with like
Spurs, Chocolate, have you got anything to add? Moving on. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No.
So there is the Cavendish experiment.
Not an experiment.
No, man.
Hang on. I've got a claim for gravity.
Hold on. We've already had one though, Anthony. Do you want to make your assertion, Planarwalk? Cavendish experiment. I've said not an experiment. Go ahead.
So the Cavendish experiment is good evidence that mass will move towards mass.
Is it scientific evidence?
Yes.
So what's the observed phenomena?
The observed phenomena is objects will inexplicably move downwards, and we want to know why is that happening.
So helium balloons move down.
We noticed that.
Really? Cavendish?
Hold on. Just Anthony and Planarwalk.
So helium balloons move down, do they?
Yes, they do move down.
Have you got any evidence of that?
The objects move down?
No, that helium balloons move down.
Oh, helium balloons. Well, in a vacuum chamber, they move down.
Okay, but that's not really an observed phenomenon, is it? We don't see vacuum chambers with balloons in them. We have to make them.
True.
So have you got any evidence for a helium balloon that goes down?
So when it comes to helium balloons, the reason why they go up is because there's buoyancy acting, which the buoyant force is greater.
The answer to my question was no. Do you not have any evidence for a helium balloon going down?
Anthony, make the end of your statement again, Planarwalk.
What was that?
Can you just repeat the end of your statement, please?
So helium balloons in air don't go down because there's the buoyant force acting against them, stopping them from going down.
So does that mean you retract your previous statement that helium balloons did go down?
Yes, it did. I didn't actually hear exactly what you said. I didn't hear helium balloons. My internet's been cutting out real bad.
Okay, so the observed phenomena is things go down, but I've just said, well, helium balloons seem to go up. Initially, you suggested that that was not true, and we'll accept that you didn't hear it. So, is the observed phenomena a valid observed phenomena if things do also appear to go up?
So that would be buoyancy. So
you've got two observed phenomena.
Got two factors.
Let me re-ask it again. You're not answering my question. Is the observed phenomena a valid observed phenomena if objects also appear to go up? It's a yes/no question.
It is a valid phenomena because we want to know what is causing either of those things.
Well, I want to know what's causing the helium balloon to rise.
Yeah, and sometimes a good way to figure out what is causing the helium balloon to rise is to figure out why is everything else going down.
Bear with me, sorry to interrupt you both. Shout out to Colin Turner, who says Planarwalk has lowered my IQ by at least half. Thank you very much indeed for your super chat. Vlad on Flat Earth, lots of patience to deal with fools. Thanks, Nathan. Really appreciate your support, Vlad on Flat Earth. Thank you very much indeed for your super chat.
Damn, and
So
here I was
recently,
thinking I was a high IQ skeptic.
Planner. So recently, I had an observed phenomena, and I didn't have a helium balloon with an atmosphere I could manipulate, but I did have an egg that I could get to sit in a state of suspension, and I could make that egg rise, and I could cause it. So I performed a little experiment. I did a little hypothesis that predicted that if I changed the density of the liquid that the egg sat in, I could make the egg rise as if it was floating. And I added a little bit of density, and the egg changed its position. And if F equals ma, then adding the density or the salts to the solution changed the amount of mass in the solution. And because the salt's more dense than the water, it went lower than the egg, increasing the pressure, displacing the egg, creating a force called pressure. But I was told I didn't do that. I was told that I altered the buoyant force, and that's really what I did. But I didn't alter the buoyant force. I altered the density of the liquid using salt. So my explanation was within scientific method, but morons like you think that it was the buoyant force, but that falls outside of the scientific method because I didn't manipulate that.
Actually, you did manipulate the buoyant force because part of the buoyant force is the density of the liquid.
So when I changed the density of the liquid, that is, by definition of the independent variable, something that I know damn well that you struggle with like a bitch, that is the presumed cause, Planarwalk. But you're now telling me it's not. So have you got a citation for an independent variable not being the presumed cause, please?
So when you... It's all to do with how you structure it. So let's say you have the...
Hold on 1 second. He's asked you for a citation that demonstrates that your presumed cause is not your presumed cause, basically. Have you got that?
So I'm not saying that the presumed cause isn't the cause, because I'm saying because density is causing the phenomena, but it's also buoyancy.
Can't have two causes in a scientific experiment.
Sorry, you're going to have to use a singular cause.
Yeah, you're right, Arwin, but hold on. And this is Anthony's point.
So if you're going to claim there's an additional cause, I'd like to see proof that you can manipulate the buoyant force and just the buoyant force to prove that there is a force there. Otherwise, I'll call bullshit and tell people that you're trying to tell me there's two causes, and really there's only the one unless you can prove that there is a little bit of buoyancy. And in your explanation, you're going to have to manipulate gravity to do that, correct?
Not necessarily. There's other ways to manipulate buoyancy.
Really? Go on then. Tell me how.
So the second part of the buoyant force is the amount of liquid that's being displaced.
Carry on.
So if you're displacing a different amount of liquid, you should expect to see different results. So if I have
Sorry to interrupt. Shout out to Retro Bill. We're all toe tagged after this. Okay. I just want to say he didn't vary the amount of water, Planarwalk.
No, I'm saying there is a way to test for a second.
I appreciate that. But what I'm saying is, in this instance, that wasn't what was varied. So I know you want to make it. This is. If I don't stop you now, this will verge into strawman territory, where you start talking about if you varied the water. He didn't vary that, though, did he? So let's not concern ourselves with that, because that's not the independent variable in this instance. Is it, Anthony? To lead back to you.
No. So what was the thing that I did manipulate?
the thing that you did manipulate is was the density of the liquid, right?
Right. So by definition, do you agree that the independent variable is the thing that the observer manipulates? Yes or no?
Yes, I do agree that the observer will manipulate the independent variable.
Okay. So if you're now going to say that there's two independent variables, how are you going to support your claim with evidence?
By doing an experiment to make sure that the one independent variable that we've manipulated isn't, because do you think that there will only ever be one singular cause for every single thing?
That's not the question.
You didn't answer my question.
Hold on.
That's a
Sorry.
straw man.
It's a
We're
straw
talking
man
about
again.
gravity
Yeah,
now.
you're right. Hold on, Owen. Yeah. In this instance, he's got an independent variable. He's varied it, and he's caused the effect. I don't really understand what difference this makes, Planarwalk.
Well, he swerved my question, Nathan. The question I asked him was...
strawmanned you. That's what I've just pointed out, and Owen's jumped in to say the same. Yeah, that's just a straw man.
So let me re-ask my question.
So
if you're going to claim there's a second cause, how would you propose that you would test it?
So you'd have other hypotheses. So you'd say, okay, I think that the volume of liquid being displaced is another cause of why of the.
Okay. So how are you going to change the volume of liquid to test your cause?
So what you'd do is you'd have two objects, right? Which that both weigh the same amount or have the same amount of mass, and you would one of them would be larger than the other, thus displacing more liquid. Now, if you want to check to see, what's that?
Hold on, Anthony. Sorry, carry on, Planarwalk.
So, if the buoyant force is true, then you should see the object that has a larger area. You should see that one rise faster than the one that doesn't have a larger area, or larger volume, should I say.
Anthony?
That seemed like word
Oh,
salad.
Anthony, not Arwin. Can't hear you.
Did Anthony drop out or something?
He's probably on the phone or something.
Give him a couple of seconds.
Okay.
Can we move on?
Hear anything? What's going on?
Waiting on Anthony.
So when you're around, your guys,
Hold
you're
on,
very
Spurs.
different.
This isn't
you're
your
very
opportunity.
confident, like, oh,
Spurs,
these flat earthers are
Spurs,
just morons
Spurs,
and they don't get things.
Spurs! This isn't just an opportunity to derail the whole conversation just because Anthony stepped away for a second for some unknown reason. Just give him a few more seconds. Hopefully we've got a few more minutes. No, he has literally completely vanished. Is that you typing, Anthony?
No, that's me. I'm Skyping him. Like, hello,
Probably
we're waiting on you.
I'm going to round out the live show over shortly and ask everybody who's watching on Nathan Oakley to stay tuned. But like I say, I'd rather give it a couple more minutes to see if we can round this out on the live show.
Oh, it's not connection problems because he just seems to be online normally. So it's probably on a phone call.
I think you're right, Arwin. Unfortunately, that is going to be the last opportunity for Anthony. But as I say, if you're watching on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. If If you're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980, unfortunately this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you tuned in, smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed and all that good stuff. Also, of course, a massive thank you to all of today's Discord and Google Plus Hangouts on Air panels for making this debate possible. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum, which you should definitely join. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley Premiering Stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
So I take it Anthony's still not back?
Yeah.
I'll be back.
He did this on my show also. So I don't know. He's probably just very busy these days.
It's a free for all now. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Betty's in the Discord server and she'll kick everyone into the after show. Everyone's mics open.
Yeah, I don't mind responding to Chemo's points if he wants to.
Feel free now, Planarwalk. I just wanted to keep that conversation between you and Anthony concise during the live show, but obviously that's now ended, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Or maybe he just couldn't hold on any longer and he just had to get an ice cream and he forgot his phone.
You had to get 3 ice creams. Right, Chemo, Planarwalk, off you go.
So, is Chemo muted or something? So Chemo seems to be muted. I don't know if he's muted himself or if it's someone else that's muted him. Or maybe he's gone away for a bit.
Chocolate, you want to jump in? I got something afterwards.
No, man, have at it. I'm at work. I can't really go back and forth like that anyway. So enjoy.
No problem. Hey, Planarwalk, how you doing? Hear me?
What?
Planarwalk, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, back to your previous discussion about the airplane. I was waiting patiently.
Yeah.
I've actually flown from LA to Boston and LA to New York many times. And the pilot, okay, not me, but the pilot over the intercom would always say headwind or tailwind as to the reason that the flight would take longer or maybe 30 to 40 minutes faster. He never said because of the rotation of the Earth underneath. And that was the east to west flight. So the citation you had about a flight from LA to New York, even the pilots don't reference the Earth moving, but just the atmosphere, and depending which way the wind is blowing, that might speed it up maybe 40 minutes or so, or slow it down by 40 minutes.
I'm back, by the way, if I missed
I do admit that that could play a role.
Yeah, you disappeared mid-debate, Anthony, so yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to answer a phone call.
It's okay.
Can we go back to it?
No, we can, yes, but just let 10th Man has now started into something, so...
No, that's all I wanted to say, is that the pilots don't ever reference the Earth moving, but it's just whatever the air is at that height of the plane, either helping or hindering. That's all. I'll give it up to...
Well, hold on, he might have a rebuttal.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, I'd definitely need to look into if headwind changes, if there is a constant headwind from LA to New York or something like that.
Well, it's not constant. It's just when they experience it, that's when the flight takes a little longer or a little less. That's all. It's a pretty standard flight. You know, anywhere 5 hours 45 minutes to 6.5 hours, to the best of my memory. But sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it takes shorter, based if they hit any atmospheric conditions. But my key point is that the pilot never says, because of the Coriolis effect, this is why we're getting there quicker.
So, on average, and so this is on average. On average, flights from New York to LA are 30 minutes longer than flights from LA to New York.
Right, because of the westerly winds, on average.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. The wind is usually coming from the west, and it affects it, and there's an average for it. But my point is, after all these years of aviation, no one ever blames it on the earth turn. They blame it on wind.
I don't
Do you not do much air
think
travel?
that you'd get.
Do you not do much air travel, Planarwalk?
I've only travelled from Christchurch to Gold Coast on an airplane.
Fair enough. Okay.
Well, I can help with this one. We do numerous airport runs in work, and flight number VT076 from Orlando, which is flying back from the States into the Manchester airport, VT076, it comes in every Monday morning. It's always due to land at 7:30 in the morning, but it always lands about an hour early, always. Now, they get fined if they don't land at the time when they're supposed to, they get fined. So it's not in their interest to land early. And it does kind of support the argument that the Earth might be turning underneath the plane, because it's consistent. It's always between 40 minutes and an hour. But do you know what the cause that the passengers get told by the pilots is? Because they usually get told every time. It's not Earth turn.
What is it?
Do you know what the cause is?
Tailwind.
Wind.
Of course.
Jet
The
stream.
wind current. That's right. The wind streams.
Of course.
Not Earth turn. I just find it interesting that the rotation of the Earth never gets mentioned with this flight, because it's always quicker coming home.
I think the jet stream typically goes west to east anyway, doesn't it? The jet stream typically for the weather patterns.
West.
No, I think it goes north to south.
East to west, you mean?
Well, we have the jet stream somewhere in the North Atlantic area, because it does affect the planes, but it's they say it's the wind. They call it a tailwind, but they don't call it Earth turn.
Well,
west to east.
Usually,
west to east.
I just want to.
Sorry, go ahead, Planarwalk. Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to address that because, when it comes to the flights that I'm looking at, at the moment it's the flight's time, the expected flight time, and so the expected flight times of all these flights it's 30 minutes more to go from New York to LA than it is to go from LA to New York. Now, when it comes to a delay or something, that will be because of jet streams, because they already know about the Earth curve as pilots, and so they're not going to say, "Oh, the Earth curve is."
How do you know that they know about
the Earth rotation?
How do you know that they know that?
Okay, citation again.
Well, they're not going to say, "Oh, the Earth
listen,
the Earth
stop,
started rotating in a different speed."
Don't divine the thoughts of pilots. You're going to annoy me really fast. Don't start divining what the pilots think. Give us a citation, then provide support for that citation.
Well, it's just a logical thing.
Don't tell me what's logical.
Start rotating
Excuse
faster?
me, stop. I'm sick of baseless assertions made up on the spot by globeheads. It's getting really irritating. Don't just tell me what pilots think. Oh, they don't say it because it's obvious that they automatically assume your fundamentalist religious assertion that Earth is spinning, even though that would cause all sorts of problems. No, I'm not going to accept that, having done absolutely bucket loads of international flights and never once heard them make ever claim that Earth turn has anything to do with the flight. But I hear them all the time talking about the weather conditions. They even put it on the map in front of you on your bloody headrest. So it's critical to the flight time, and go on about it all the time. Yeah? So your claim that they just automatically know that Earth turn's got to be accounted for is utter nonsense unless you can cite a source and prove it. All you've done so far in terms of that is provide a source that flies in the face of reality.
So when it comes to these flights, they've got an expected time. So the expected time would take into consideration the Earth rotation.
We've already heard this 3 times, this baseless assertion. Right, the last thing I asked you to do was go and provide a citation. Have you got one?
And I've already given citations for why Lite's going one way is.
You haven't given
different.
a single.
You haven't done that at all.
Arwen,
Just
you haven't given a
story.
single citation yet. You've given an entire reference that. Shut up. You've given an entire reference which I had to read through. You didn't cite a single thing from it. Not one thing. Now you're saying you've already given the citations. No. You gave a reference which I read through and crapped all over. Now you're giving a reference, or preferably citation, for your next bullshit claim. That all pilots automatically take spin of the Earth into account. Cite it, or shut up.
So, yeah, I did give a citation. It's this one here that I'll repost.
Is it the same one?
Yeah, it says...
Stop! Is it the same citation that you already posted? Because that citation didn't have any details of pilots claiming that Earth turns underneath. It didn't have anything from a pilot at all. So this is not the citation that backs your claim that pilots automatically take Earth spin into consideration. I've already read this entire reference. It does not say that. It doesn't have citations from pilots. It's not going to suit your ends.
So what it says is that it has...
It says
that there's
you
global
said
wind.
pilots. I don't care what this site... I've just... This is... Can anyone else appreciate why this is bloody irritating? Have I just not explained why this isn't going to meet your ends? Did you not just listen? Or did you just ignore every single word I said?
No, I didn't ignore what you were saying.
I'll move on to the
What did I say? What was the reason why your citation wasn't satisfactory? Given that you've claimed pilots think.
So, I'll try and find a
Can I just say, Planarwalk, you are the most boring person to listen to ever.
Look, right. Planarwalk, I've just asked you a direct question. Did you listen to what I said and why the citation you've just insisted and repeated 3 times isn't satisfactory? Not, can you go and get another one? Not the reply, oh, well, I'll go and find. That isn't what I'm asking.
So, maybe I did miss what you're saying about why my citation wasn't valid. So I'll try.
What you didn't listen?
Because
you didn't listen then.
It's because it's not from a pilot, right, or something like that.
Because it's not a
That's what
quote.
you said, right?
It's just a story.
It's not from a pilot, right? Your claim being pilots automatically take Earth rotation into consideration. I said, give me a citation, and you gave us the citation that, according to it, the planes have to accelerate to overcome Earth rotation speeds. Yeah, that load of old bollocks. That's what you're claiming. Not from a pilot.
So just because it's not from a pilot, generally, I don't think it's the pilot. I don't think it would be the pilots that would actually come up with the
Why did
times.
you
It would
say it
actually
then?
probably be
Sorry,
someone
your
else.
claim. Pilots, specifically, that specific type of person, pilots, automatically take Earth rotation into consideration. That's why they don't declare it on the tannoy. That's your claim. Now you're saying, I don't think it really matters to cite a pilot. Can no one else appreciate why this is unbelievably frustrating? Can no one else appreciate why this is unbelievably irritating? When the person who tells me what a sodding pilot thinks, and I ask him to cite it, tells me that it's not important to get the opinions of pilots.
I just got here and I'm already frustrated.
Planarwalk's the most boring person to listen to ever.
Can I have a few minutes? Can I ask Planarwalk one question?
Go ahead, Chocolate. I'm done with him.
A few minutes ago, Planarwalk, you said something about flights taking longer to go from New York to LA or from LA to New York. I don't remember the exact city because I'm working, so excuse me. But did you say, is that what you said?
Longer to go from New York to LA.
You said what?
It's longer to go from New York to LA.
Then from LA to New York.
No, it's
right?
longer to go from New York to LA than it is to go from LA to New York.
Right. Okay, but isn't Earth supposed to be spinning towards the east?
So the reason why is because...
No. Answer the question. Is the Earth supposed to be spinning towards the east?
Yes, the Earth is supposed to be spinning towards the east.
Right. So there's no way that the flight from New York to LA should be longer than the flight going the opposite way, right?
Well, the reason why it's...
No. Answer the question. If the Earth is spinning towards the east, I take off from New York and I go to LA, the Earth is spinning towards me, right? So LA should be showing up a lot quicker, right? But you just said it's not. Am I right?
Yeah, so not necessarily, because there's because what's
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my friend. I've taken these flights many times. That's how it works. You said New York to LA is longer, and that's not how it's supposed to work, my friend. So I'm sorry.
So the reason why is because of the way that it impacts the jet streams, and the jet streams are impacted. One of the links that I posted actually shows.
How is the jet stream impacted if the Earth is spinning in one direction?
The jet streams are impacted. I'm looking at all these things right now. It's quite late for me, so it's hard to sort of absorb this information. But essentially,
Planet, I understand you're tired. I know you're sleepy. I get it. Right. I just need you to think for a few minutes real clearly because I can't stay that long. The Earth is supposed to be spinning from west to east. Take off from New York and you go to LA. You're saying it takes longer. Well, you just destroyed your entire argument because that's not how it's supposed to work. If the Earth is spinning towards you, your flight is supposed to be significantly faster. So you're going to have to work out which one is which, my friend. Okay. Somebody else can have me. I got to go. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chocolate.
Chocolate, let me dovetail off what you're saying. So Planarwalk, what he's saying is, if the Earth in the globe model is spinning 1,000 miles at the equator, roughly 840 miles from LA to New York, west to east, then the jet stream.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about this for a second,
is the jet stream speed faster than the Earth turn? If LA is coming to you at 1,000 or let's just say 800 miles an hour.
He's trying to get a reply out, 10th man. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm trying to just visualize it in my mind. So
it sounds like you're trying to speak. Are you okay?
What?
It sounds like you're trying to speak coherently. Are you okay?
I'm mostly just tired.
Do you understand how your argument's a train wreck?
What?
Do you understand how your argument is a train wreck, as pointed out by Chocolate saying?
Yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from. So I'm just trying to visualize this in my mind because it's
Planarwalk. You don't have to visualize anything, my friend. 2 seconds, Google it. It'll show you what direction the Earth is spinning. It'll even give you a little arrow. So now in your mind, you can envision which direction is which. And you can see if what you're saying is correct, there is no way that the Earth can be spinning. Right?
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
You gotta just because you don't understand how it's working doesn't mean that it's not.
Oh, now I don't understand.
Don't rise to it.
That's adorable.
Yeah, we're just
don't rise to it. Don't rise to it. You absolutely obliterated him. I didn't even spot that chocolate. So kudos. You've just smashed his argument into the middle of next week with just the simple facts he presented. I didn't even consider them. I was going to the overall argument. You've actually listened more than I have to his facts and gone, hang on a second. The turn is going the other way. It should be shorter that way, not longer.
As soon as he said it, I was all over it. Couldn't get to my mute button fast.
So there is a reason, and it is due to the way. I believe it's due to the way that the. So it is. Yes, due to the way that the wind is moving, and I think over the US, by the looks of this, it's there's a lot of westward winds due to the. Was it westward? No, it's eastward winds. Due to the Coriolis effect.
Yeah, maybe you want to figure that one out before you start presenting it.
Oh no, why don't you just go to bed? You're terrible.
Indeed.
Go to the last ball busters, okay? I have an example in there with a flight, right? From Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles. They're both on the same latitude. It gives all the information. Start there, then come back, okay? From what I just heard, you wasted an entire show with your tiredness and your tired computer, right?
Well, I could actually probably go.
Is that correct? Go get your act together.
I could actually probably go.
And then come back. Wasting our damn time.
Well, I wasn't actually intending on joining the show, but
do you have any honor with yourself? Do you feel shame? Is what I want to know.
I actually tend to agree with John here. Like, you're not recovering from your tiredsomeness. There's a lot of things you need to do. Like, get a quote from that pilot, like you said you had, and you're not really succeeding in doing it right now. So just go to bed. Make some notes, get it done, and come back to us. Okay?
I'll do that. I honestly need to get to sleep because I am tired. And
I would like an answer though.
In no condition to answer or to argue right now.
No, not a debating question.
Get some rest. Make some notes.
Owen, just before he disappears. So, I mean, I'm interested in that. Do you feel no shame?
I do have shame sometimes, but it depends on what you're talking about when it comes to shame. Like, why would I feel shame?
Okay, I'll try and give you an example. I'm not trying to debate you because I know you're tired, right? If you came on and asserted that a difference in duration in a travel time that you'd looked up and had a vague glance at was because Earth turned underneath, then when it was pointed out to you that that's an absolute train wreck because one duration should be shorter as opposed to longer, as given in your example, you then turned around and blamed it on the wind. So in other words, when something will fit your... I haven't finished. So when something fits your religious belief, you'll assert it as your religious belief. But then when it's absolutely the antithesis of your claim, you'll find something to explain it away. Even if we accepted what you explained it away with, it'd leave you at 0. No Earth turn, just an embarrassing example that didn't work at all. Now, that for me would be not just embarrassing, humiliating. But you're like, oh, I'm a bit tired.
Yeah, so the reason why I didn't have a well thought out argument, and I do need to look into this a bit more, is because, I am quite tired. I didn't intend on joining. I've been working on stuff all day, that kind of stuff. And so, I didn't have a properly formulated argument for that. But there are things that you didn't understand as well in the debate that you should definitely look into. Like, you should definitely look into reference frames and how that can affect things.
Oh my god.
The arrogance of this prick. The arrogance is outrageous.
Get him. I'll get in there.
Hold on. I don't know what you're going to do. I mean... So tell us then, in the Coriolis effect, which frame is non-inertial? Planarwalk.
Just let me go to bed.
God damn.
No, tell us which is the non-inertial reference frame.
The non-inertial reference frame. So that would be the reference frame that doesn't have any momentum with it.
You tell me. You're saying the one without any momentum is the non-inertial reference frame. Wrong.
I think so. I'm just trying.
So you think that the non-inertial reference frame is the air?
We're all just moved to a different voice. So
Sorry.
I didn't quite catch that.
Excuse me. You think the non-inertial reference frame is what now? You've just told me to study reference frames, you cheeky little prick. Now I'm asking you a very specific question about reference frames. Which one's non-inertial? And you don't know. So it would seem that me, the one asking the question that has a very specific answer that you don't know, would be the one who understands reference frames. You, the arrogant, shameless prick, hasn't got the vaguest clue and can only mutter.
So the way that I understand it is the reference frame that is moving, or the so the reference frame, the plane, for example, is moving within the reference frame of the Earth, and the Earth is moving within the reference frame of outside of the Earth.
Not my question.
That's the way that I
asked,
understand.
what's a non-inertial reference frame? That's my question. It's a very specific question. Non-inertial reference frame. Go. You're telling me to study this subject, Planarwalk. Off the top of my head, let's just show the audience again. No hands, no Google searches, just an arrogant prick telling me to study up reference frames. I ask him, without having to search up a damn thing, what a non-inertial reference frame is. He hasn't got the vaguest idea.
So just because I don't know the exact terminology...
You asked me to search reference frames out like you had some sort of understanding of reference frames and we didn't, you cheeky little prick. Clearly, we have an absolute grasp on what reference frames are. You haven't got a clue. So don't project your ignorance here, Planarwalk. I would suggest you, the Dumbo who doesn't understand about reference frames, you go and study what they are. Do you know where I'd suggest you start? Non-inertial reference frames. Start there, sunshine, because you're dumb and ignorant and don't need to be giving me advice on studying up on reference frames. I have. I'm not ignorant. I do come prepared to debate. That's why you get battered here, because we are prepared. You are ignorant, and you've got the gall to tell us to go up and study on reference frames, you cheeky little twat.
Yeah, maybe you
probably
should
lied
save the
about reference
declarations
frames,
of
so he had to
victory
say
when
that.
you're actually going to bed.
Yeah, well, he's not talking anymore.
Nathan, have you noticed that there's a bit of a common theme? If they get cornered, or we get to a point where there is an interpretation issue, and as the viewer, you've got to decide which one do you think is probably the most accurate, we always get the assertion that it's because we don't understand whatever the topic is in hand. And it's always coming from the ballers. It's because you don't understand that. And Rumpus does it. Planarwalk did it a couple of times today. I see that trait common, and I wonder, is there a theme going on where if they think they get cornered, they just project their own "you don't understand it" onto us and make it look like we don't understand stuff? Just pay attention to how these guys seem to have a similar strategy to each other, and we wonder how they're actually working together.
Well, no, that's just common human nature. Project your ignorance. Oh, you don't understand. You just don't understand. You can see the little 4-year-old boy. You just don't understand. Yeah, I understand. You lying little sod.
No, that's not common human nature. No.
Okay.
That's
lying
psychopath.
Okay, lying sod nature.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a technical fallback argument to basically use the peer pressure of the body of science in some kind of sumo wrestling contest. And whenever they lose completely, especially in the moment, then they'll just say, yeah, you don't understand. I got an entire body of science. And they might appeal to, yeah, you just have to study into it. Just look through it, spend hours and hours of work. You know, they just want to silence you by putting you to work.
Well,
Yes.
hours and
I
hours
got
of
a
work,
question.
and
I have a question.
his
Don't talk over me, Chocolate, this time, please. I got a question. I got up. I'm sorry. I got up late this morning. It is 9:29 where I am. You started at 8 o'clock. Can somebody tell me, did Planarwalk take the whole hour and a half?
Yep.
Even before the debate, he was a waste of time.
Looks like we need to have another meeting, right?
The guy can't speak. Listening to him talk was like plucking teeth at the doctors. It was
It's
horrendous.
partially my fault, because he came in, we did housekeeping, excuse me, and each and every question got the same sort of response, which is, well, I'll assert gyroscopes for axial rotation, I'll assert, begging the question, Earth curve mathematics and globe models for curvature, and I unpicked them all. And bugger really, because my intention on yesterday's show, Discord goes down, today's show, I said to myself, as soon as housekeeping's done, hand over to whoever starts the argument up. Planner walks on at the beginning of the housekeeping. I'm the one asking the questions. He's already engaged me directly in conversation. In other words, he wants it out with me. You know, top video, I've just gone and searched his channel out. Second video is specifically about me. In other words, you know, when you were like, well, maybe Nathan will be the one that they come in and say, I want to debate you. Well, that's precisely what he did. So I'm not in a position to hand over to Chocolate or hand over to Chemo. And all Chemo does is want to give him bloody therapy.
Yeah, I see how it went. Maybe I don't want to talk about in-house business. Maybe we ought to consider the housekeeping as separate, get through that, and then go to... We can talk about that. Sorry about that.
Isn't that the point? I've toyed with this. No, I don't mind talking about this on a recording. I mean, housekeeping... If I just put it to the regular panel members, then they're not, on a fundamental level, they're not out there looking for Earth curve, are they? If you know what I mean.
Right.
Got always been.
Yep.
Go on, Flatsoid.
I said yes. If it's just going to be the panel, it's always going to be no for every answer. So.
Yeah, that's correct. I didn't think about it. Sorry, it's early in the morning. You're right. I'll try to think of another way around it.
I mean, what I'll do... No, I've already decided what I'm going to do. When it comes to... Even if that happens... I mean, the housekeeping questions are there to keep the show relevant each and every time that the show starts live. Well, that's worked, but because it was housekeeping, I've decided I'm going to take the reins. Well, as soon as he made a claim, I should have just immediately handed over to whoever argued first.
Well, you got to number 3, gravity, and we haven't got any further.
Yeah, got 3 housekeeping questions.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, JM Truth.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have any problem with Planarwalk chewing out the show, as you call it, because he's making globehead claims. What's wrong with that? That's not a waste of time.
That's true.
I was thinking initially, you know, if you ask a ball earther, is it a belief or is it something that you know for a fact to be true? So if it's a belief, then you can't really argue somebody's idea. It's their belief. Okay, have a nice day. But if they think it's an actual fact, there's actual proof and science and evidence, well, that's a different story. Now they have to obviously present that. But Planarwalk here is just giving me his belief, what he believes, what they have. And so that's why he's very nonchalant. Oh, he's like, you know, yeah, we've got it. They've done it. He doesn't know what he's saying.
Well, that's why, Spurs, he destroyed himself. He didn't even understand what he said. As soon as he said it's takes longer to go from New York to LA, he was done. How are you trying to?
Did anybody ask him what the Coriolis effect was? Did anyone ask him what the Coriolis effect was?
Yeah, I did. I'm pretty sure I did.
Did he define it?
Yeah, he defined it with what? No, I defined it when he described his gyroscope example in the first instance, 2 reference frames.
Next, it's probably a good idea to have them define it, because then you can nip it in the bud right there. If they don't know what they're talking about, then it would stop the argument.
Well,
right
that's
in
what
its
I was trying. So I'm let him make his claim. That took about 35 seconds. Then I said no, because that's a demonstration of Coriolis. Planes would therefore have to take a longer duration, and he basically brought up a reference that claimed that they did. In other words, supporting his claim that the planes are affected by Coriolis effect. And in his reference, it said that the planes had to take off and then increase their speed to overcome the speed of Earth rotation.
Whoa, wait a second. Where was this reference from?
It's in the Discord live chat. I'll just read the line.
And he thought it's a citation.
He gave a citation or a reference?
He gave a reference. Flying west, it decreases its speed relative to the surface of the Earth, and the Earth slips by. Wait, no, that's not the one. Bear with me.
Right.
Although that one's bad enough.
I'm trying
But
to
I
find
don't think
it too.
they really understand the differences with fundamental things. I mean,
It actually appears.
I'm sorry, I found it.
They're getting dumber and dumber as we go, because the goalpost keeps moving backwards and backwards and backwards.
The plane increases its speed relative to the surface of the ground, to the Earth, and begins to overtake it.
What in the world?
remember, you don't understand it.
Nobody put their name to it, as far as I could see. I only had a quick glance while we were talking, but I couldn't see anyone's name attributed to it.
Can you publish that on your channel instead of Discord so we can all see it?
Oh, you want to see it in the Hangouts? Yeah, no worries.
Oh, definitely. And then I got a question for Spurs.
Hey, yeah, and Nathan, before you leave, before you close up shop for today, I got a short presentation, maybe 5-6 minutes, calling out one of the idiots over there on Jose's show, if you will.
Yeah, 10th man, go ahead. Go. You wanted to speak to Spurs?
Yeah. Hey, Spurs,
I'm
can you hear me?
here. Hey, man.
Have you had beliefs in your life that have changed over time?
Of course.
And when a certain belief you held for a certain period of time changed, what made it change?
To be honest, if we're looking at it's not. I mean, if you're looking at things like I was thinking of like Santa Claus. If we're looking at what changed my mind, it wasn't because I actually knew there was no Santa Claus. It was just that, well, you realize it's not possible for a man to fly around in a sleigh. So I haven't verified that for myself, but I've just changed it based on the fact.
Spurs.
What?
Spurs. Just a short answer. What preceded the change from one belief to another? What took place? What can be universally said about a belief being abandoned and a new one accepted?
Validation, or where
I'm asking you a very simple question. Have you had beliefs in the past that you held on to and then changed?
Yeah.
And what was that based on?
Like I just said, it's just based on there's silly reasons why we change our minds, don't we? I mean, we thought it was Santa Claus, and then obviously, your big brother would say, "There's no Santa Claus." Don't be silly. Then you'll hear your friends say, "There's no Santa Claus," and then you just dismiss it. So
did you change your beliefs about Santa Claus based on people talking or based on actual evidence of some kind?
That's what I'm trying to say. It wasn't actually evidence of no Santa Claus. It was just more, it was revealed to be an idea. It was like licensed to say it's just an idea, it's not real.
So your statement about Planarwalk is erroneous. He has a belief. We want to give him evidence that his belief is pseudoscience so that he could have a chance to abandon the false belief and then have a new belief based on truth. So beliefs, you can affect someone's belief by offering evidence if their belief is based on a lie. Would you agree with that?
But this is where if his parents, if Planarwalker's parents
Oh
told
my
him,
gosh. If you believe in a
parents
lie,
told him that
Hold on.
Santa
proven
Claus
it's
was
a
real,
Hold on. Let Spurs
and
at
the rest
least
of the world was
respond.
telling him. Sorry?
Let Spurs respond. I heard if his parents.
And then he went, oh. But yeah, what I was trying to say was, we're talking about beliefs, aren't we? So if Planarwalker believes his parents, NASA, the government, institutions are like the guardian, are like a guardian to Planarwalker. So in his head, he's thinking, you know, my parents wouldn't lie to me. Santa Claus is, they say Santa Claus is real. They've given me all the tools and understanding why Santa Claus is real. So you, 10th man, telling me Santa Claus is not real, I don't know, you know? And that's what it boils down to. We have to get him to deny his parents. How do you do that?
you have psychologicalized, if that's even the way of saying it. The entire point. No wonder you're so confused.
So he didn't even get, so we can say he wasn't disciplined enough as a child.
No, I'm saying
No,
that
what
the parents have done, what the parents, what the institution has done, they've kept people in a child mind-like state. So even someone like Rumpus is still acting like a child. His parents have gave him sweets, chocolate, cake. Here, Rumpus, here's another sweet. He's like, delicious. So he's eating all that information up, and his parents are keeping him safe. That's how he sees. So even when I showed Rumpus, things do not fall in a vacuum at the same rate. His world, he didn't know how to respond, right? Because everything, it goes against everything. And he just said it. He even said it. Look, I believe NASA just because NASA wouldn't lie. I just believe them. This is what Rumpus is saying. So it's definitely dealing with
Spurs.
Sorry, go on.
Spurs, are you sitting down?
Yeah.
Okay, because you need to be. I went to my parents, who taught me many things as an adult. And I said, you know the thing you told me? Here's what I found out. You were lied to. And inadvertently, you lied to me, but you weren't lying to me because you were lied to. But here's what I found out. Are you saying that can't happen?
Saying what, sorry? I didn't quite catch that.
What part didn't you catch?
I think can't happen. What?
Oh my God. Okay, hold on a second. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just my attitude this morning. But are we sitting here
I love you, John.
psychologically evaluating other people? Come on. This is flat earth debate. I'm sorry, Chemo. I'm sorry, 10th man. Can you get back on the flat earth debate?
That's my point.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
John gave a
preposterous,
presentation
right?
for us.
Isn't it kind of preposterous conjecturing about others' psychological status or how they grew up? Where is that going?
Not really, John. Not really, because we all experienced it ourselves. We were all born earthers, so we know what it's like to believe a lie or something that's not true. 10th man, he believed it. You, John, at one time believed it. We all experienced believing a ball. So now we can know what it's like for others to believe this ball. But we can move on. It's not a problem.
Can I quickly add something to this conversation?
Is it psychological?
No, it's not psychological.
Okay.
The issue, one of the issues that I've come across for many years now is the combining of these words, truth and belief. And if we don't go by the definition of the two words, we're already behind the power curve. What do I mean? Yes, we all believe the Earth's round, but the word belief in and of itself, if you look up the definition, means to believe something that has no proof, versus truth, which actually is absolutely 100% proven. And we keep using belief and truth Well, let me finish. We
I
keep
disagree
using
with that.
That's all right, but let me finish. We keep using the word belief and truth in the same sentence. If I know truth, and if I've gone out and I've proven the Earth's flat, I no longer believe the Earth's flat. When people ask me, Joshua, why do you believe the Earth's flat? I tell them I don't. You believe it's round. I don't. Truth is based on knowledge. It's based on things we know. So when we keep using the word believe, we're still in that paradigm of, well, I'm not sure.
Truth is based on things we can prove.
Truth is always something we can prove, yeah.
Truth is something we can prove, otherwise
Correct.
it's...
Yeah, right. No, right. Correct. Yeah, correct. That's my point. I think we should stop using the word belief along with truth, because they're not based on the same thing.
Even though this pains me to death, Paul, go ahead.
Okay, I've got the definition of belief up on my screen currently. Okay, it says an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists. Now, it does not say anything about whether you believe in something false or anything like that. You can have beliefs that are false and beliefs that are true.
Wait,
the
keep
word
reading the
belief
definition.
is not a bad word.
The second part of that definition says it's based on no actual fact. I have the definition. I can pull it up if you like.
Where does it say that? I don't see that on my screen.
Give me a second.
I said it.
Yeah, he's going to pull it up, Paul, because I've seen it. I have a little spill on belief and knowledge, so...
I have a whole video on belief and truth.
Right.
Belief and faith, both belief and faith are based on no actual fact.
That's the colloquial definitions.
Okay, then I've got a different definition.
Well, okay. Well, do you want me to pull it up, or will you
Object
accept
of your No, go ahead.
Okay.
I don't want to talk over you.
No. I was just saying, will you concede that the definition is there, or do you want me to pull it up to actually show you?
Well, no. Hold on. Don't ask him to concede. We're all listening in. We want to agree on terms here. That's what the objective is.
I'm presenting.
Yeah, I've presented yours, Paul. I put them up for the audience as well. But obviously, Josh has got a different take and a different definition. But that's what we're doing, right? We're coming to terms.
Right.
Okay, I've got a definition.
I know we've had it up. You've read it. We're just waiting for you, Josh.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I accept the edition.
My computer's being funky at the moment. It's frozen on me. I apologize.
It's alright. Everyone's got internet troubles at the moment.
That's one.
Yeah, this is to me. This is very important because if we don't have the right terms, then we're talking in circles around each other as opposed to actually.
I got it.
Yeah.
Belief and acceptance. Hold on a second. An acceptance that something exists or is true, especially one without proof. Trust, faith, or confidence in something. Okay? Where faith also, this is the colloquial definition.
Anthony, can you go on mute?
Should I? Do you want me to read that again?
Go ahead, please.
Let me try it one more time. I got two definitions of belief, which is important to define these things. So belief from Oxford, an acceptance that something exists or is true, especially one without proof. Trust, faith, or confidence in someone or something. And Wiki, belief is the state of mind in which a person thinks something to be the case, regardless of empirical evidence to prove that something is the case with factual certainty. Knowledge, on the other hand, facts, information, and skills acquired through experience or education.
So we see how key it is in asking Planner, do you have a belief? Because if he has a belief, what John's just said, he just has faith and idea. Now, how can you possibly argue with somebody's faith or belief or idea?
Can't. You're right, Spurs. There was a few months back, there was a point in the debates where if somebody conceded that it is simply their belief, then who am I to challenge their belief, so long as they are accepting of their belief? Now, in recent times, people have tried to use that as a get-out. I'll assert my fundamentalist religious belief and just use the fact that it's a belief as a defence. Well, it's not, when we're looking for the truth and the facts.
What John just said is what Planner did all afternoon here, regardless of what was put in front of him. You know, and I wanted to say to him, because he's usually more confident when he's with, his guys and that, and I just think probably because he was tired, but yeah, he's just thrown his nose up, hand wave dismissal, like you would say, because it's his belief. He's like, I don't care what you say. I just believe what I want.
Okay, Spurs, do you know what a zealot is?
Yeah.
Spurs, do you know what a zealot is?
I've heard the word. I haven't actually looked at that.
Okay, a person who is fanatical and uncompromising in pursuit of their religious, political, or other ideas.
Yes.
We are dealing with zealots. You're trying to dissect them mentally. No, they're zealots.
Yeah, they've made up their mind beforehand.
You are like
You say that you say they're fundamentals, Nathan, like fanatics.
Yeah, that's why I call them fundies.
But yeah, you say
Fundamentalist belief.
I've just got that. I've just got that.
And thank you to John or whoever it was that read that definition for me. I appreciate
Fundamentals,
it.
Yeah,
no problem.
With your rhetoric as well, Nathan. I've just got to remind you.
Is 10th man gone already?
No, I'm here.
Can you hear us, Menace to Sobriety?
I'm here.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you clearly enough.
I got a question with this truth and belief thing. What about a guy like Joshua, for example? He's got the evidence that he needs to know that the earth is flat, so that it's not a belief for him. But to me, that evidence that is good enough for him isn't good enough for me. So then I look at him and I say, he's got a belief that the earth is flat, because what he considers good enough evidence may not be good enough for the next guy, right?
I think it all falls down to opinion at the end of the day.
Hold on. I want 10th man to address that. I am correct in my assumption that you were the person in the chat yesterday that said you wanted to specifically talk to 10th man. Is that right, Menace?
Yeah, well, I'd actually like to schedule like a real debate with him. I just walked in the door, so I just jumped on and see what's going on.
No, I just want to establish that. I'm not saying you must have it out with him immediately. I'm just trying to establish what you wanted, and if you were the right person, I'd mistaken you for someone else.
Yeah. Oh no, I've got no desire to have it out with him immediately or anything like that. He was just some random person that I picked and figured, well, if you're going to start doing debates, why not schedule something with him?
No, I'm sure, because 10th man will be disappearing shortly anyway, because he's got actual work to do. So, maybe if you're around tomorrow and 10th man's around tomorrow, yeah, that would be ideal. Hopefully, after
What's the topic? What's the topic?
Anything's good by me. What would you like? What are you most comfortable with?
Pizza. I love pizza.
Sorry, we're not arranging a date.
Well, no, I mean, wait a minute. The guy, unbeknownst to me, communicated with you, I guess, from the sound of it yesterday. I'm hearing this for the first time. I'm a random guy from the panel, and any topic will do. I mean, this is a bit crazy to me. What are you passionate? What are you passionate most about?
Pizza.
The shape of the earth. Is the earth a ball or is it flat?
I think he wanted to talk about belief.
Well, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, we could pick housekeeping topics if you want, and
let's
take
do
a few of those.
a housekeeping topic then.
All right, because I do think that the housekeeping topics is something that doesn't get its Globers don't get a fair shot at, so maybe we can talk about that.
All right. No, listen, I'll do my best. I like the housekeeping topics. Hopefully I could answer your questions. If I can't, then I can't.
Did Planarwalk get a fair shot at them?
I didn't hear much of Planarwalk because I had to run out, but I'm thinking he probably got the audio snippets he needed.
He had the whole show.
Okay, so just
Menace brought up a good point. Can I quickly address that?
You can. I just want to round that out though. So the bottom line is, whatever happens between the two of you, it's claim and support, then rebuttal. So it inevitably won't be housekeeping questions. It'll be one of them. So just pick. If you're going to do this, i.e., you don't have to, but if you are, pick one now and say, right, well, I'm going to make an affirmative claim in regards to gravity or distance to the sun or whatever housekeeping question, just so that that's how it's at least starts out, with one or other of you making an affirmative claim and then backing it with some evidence.
Curvature, Earth curvature. Let's start there. The first one.
You happy with that, Menace? Maybe tomorrow if you're around.
Sure.
10th man's around. I want to keep it relatively casual because I know you did. You just mentioned it in the chat when I was saying on the recording, well, if somebody comes in and happens to start on chocolate and you're like, great, well, 10th man then, I want to debate him. It was as random as that, 10th man. I don't think it's anything personal whatsoever. You are just a random panel member in this regard.
And if you don't want to do it, I'll do it.
No, I didn't take it personal at all. I like talking.
He's already getting rumpused. Go on, 10th man.
Just make sure you bring some homework with something to back up your claims.
Well, he's got to prove his claim. Because the Earth is obviously and observably flat.
Can I just intersect with a slight detour? I was trying to get this in housekeeping, but for whatever reason, it didn't happen. I'm going to play the part for this example of a baller, and I'm going to do it in the best way that I can, given the way that ballers do. I'm going to make a claim that I've got evidence to prove gravity. I'd like someone to volunteer to argue against me, and I'll be the baller, and you're going to critically analyze the evidence that I present and tell me what's wrong with it. There is things that, I just want to present it as gravity, and I want someone to counter me as a flat earther. So does anyone want to volunteer?
I volunteer, Nathan.
Okay.
No, we know
Gravity,
the answer.
But before you do,
what do you mean when you say gravity?
Before you do this, before you get into this, I don't mind at all, but we've got a presentation from John waiting in the wings, and JM Truth was trying to say something.
Yeah, real quick. When Menace came on and said about, what if he doesn't accept the truth? This is why defining terms and understanding what scientific proof or proof is, because you can, at the point at which I give you absolute proof that the Earth is flat or absolute proof of anything, you can walk away absolutely and say, well, I just don't believe that. And the problem, this is the problem that we have between flat Earth and globe, is some people are so fundamentally stuck in their belief that no matter how many times we shoot a laser 10, 20, 30 miles and it doesn't curve, or we have a picture that's 1,200 miles, at some point you just got to go, this really does come down to belief versus truth. It's not even a matter of having evidence, because I've shown evidence, Nathan's shown evidence, a lot of us have shown evidence and had people walk away going, I don't believe it. I don't even accept the proof. So that's the major difference that I just wanted to make with that point that you make up, is what are you calling actual scientific proof? Because there's plenty out there.
Yeah, it's just cognitive dissonance.
I don't know. You're wrong. There is no scientific flat Earth proof.
Nathan, you don't think there's scientific evidence of the Earth being flat?
No, there can't be. The Earth is flat, right? That's not a cause and effect relationship.
Okay, so the scientific method is only for cause and effect from your perspective.
No, that's what it is. Not from his perspective. That's what it is.
So if I use the scientific method to measure something, I can't use the scientific method to measure something?
No. My son can go measure a bread box. That's not scientific evidence. Do you know what the scientific method is, son?
Yes, I do, and I'm not your son.
Oh, okay. Tell us the scientific method. Give us just the three main steps. I'll tell you what. Let's make it easy.
Hashtag.
Let's make it no rumpusing. Hold on.
Scientific method.
Look. Right, let's keep it civil. This is flat Earth on flat Earth action, Everybody's keen. Just let it be Josh and QE, please.
So, my question is, are you of the opinion that experiment is absolutely crucial? That is the quintessential tenet of the scientific method. Yes or no?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Here's my next question. What are the 3 constituent parts of the scientific experiment?
Hypothesis, the variable, and then testing it.
Hypothesis is not a part of the scientific experiment. It's done before that. So I'm going to ask you one more time. I'm going to be real clear. Give me the 3 constituent parts of a scientific experiment.
Okay, let's skip this and just tell me what they are.
That's what that's what the problem is here. Because if you knew what the scientific method was, you definitely know what the 3 constituent parts of a scientific experiment is. And you're trying to lecture us on what the scientific method is. Do you see the problem there? Yeah, it is frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
I've taught a whole class or I teach a class on the scientific method, bud. So I understand. I'm just
what do you teach it to? Romper room? Romper room? Is this who you teach it to?
Hang on a sec. If you teach this shit and you don't know this shit, how is it you're teaching this shit?
Well, would you like me to present that? Because actually I also have dyslexia and short-term memory loss because I'm a veteran of combat. So when you're putting me on the spot, I've got to have my notes in front of me. Sorry, that's just the way that is.
Jesus, dude.
So,
okay, no problem. Let's finish this up. Let's finish it up real quick. Hold on. Let's finish it up real quick.
Hold on.
No.
Come on, you've got Dawn trying to criticize you on your own side.
Hold on. Just QE, just Josh.
Let's just finish it up real quick. I'm sorry for the romper room. I'm sorry for I'm not sure why you're kind of being a jerk when I'm short-term memory.
Like you are, but you
hold on a second.
Just Josh, one at a time. You will get a chance to respond, I promise.
Like I said, I apologize for the romper room comment. You're a veteran. I'm retired military. I understand all those things. Let's put those aside for a second.
Okay.
The claim was the scientific method is solely used for cause and effect. The reason why I brought up the experiment was to show you that the independent variable and the dependent variable are part of a scientific experiment. The independent variable, hold on a second, I'm almost done. The independent variable is the cause. The dependent variable is the effect. So, the scientific method, hypothesis-driven, experiment is the quintessential tenet of it, has within inside of it cause and effect. Thank you very much.
Did you want to respond? Because if not, the supplementary point to that, Josh, is that if you're to assert we have scientific evidence of a flat Earth, then that would be an incorrect assertion to make. And it's not just because I want to have a go at you. I'm not just being pedantic.
No, that's fine, Nathan. My understanding has always been if I go out and design a hypothesis and go out and measure, for example, I do a laser experiment or a site experiment, okay, and I do all of that according to the scientific method, that's not a cause and effect, but it is I understand it's a measurement, but it's still according to the scientific method. That's always been my understanding. If I'm wrong, I'm totally willing to say, hey, okay, it's just a measurement. But I don't think it was all that important to make a big to-do about it, in the sense that when I'm talking, I'm using loosely the fact that we're testing these things, which is what we're supposed to be doing, versus not testing.
Okay, if you can, yeah. So it's critical. The reason it's critical is because our opponents, who have the fundamentalist sphere belief, use that same exact juxtaposition that you have used between measurements, mathematics, and science, establishing the cause of an effect. So it seems like we're being unnecessarily pedantic, when in reality it's the most critical detail in this argument. For example,
no, and I completely understand, and like I said,
you don't completely understand. You just keep talking while I'm in the middle of explaining.
I'm sorry, Nathan.
No worries. It's the most critical detail. For example, you have astrophysicists who will take measurements of things they observe in the sky, and then claim that it's science whether you like it or not, when in reality it isn't science. And worse still, by claiming science, the establishment of a cause for an effect, they are actually the perpetrators of pseudoscience, one of our strongest arguments. So when an astrophysicist says he has measured something and asserts that he has adhered to the scientific method, as you have done, and we call them out as pseudoscientists by asking them for their independent variable, and they go, I don't have one, they instantaneously become discredited as pseudoscientists because they've claimed science like you have. So given you're on our side, we want you to adhere to the same standards as real science would, which is to say cause and effect relationships, observe phenomena, step 1. So my last point, you started with hypothesis when you gave your example that you claimed adhered to the scientific method, and then you went on to explain a measurement. In reality, step 1 is observe a phenomena, otherwise known as an effect.
Right.
Your observed phenomena becoming your DV, or dependent variable. So the effect you observe is your starting point. So obviously, if your starting point is effect, you're trying to figure out the cause of it. That's science in essence. But what's claimed as science is a whole multitude of other things which are absolutely not scientific, but still definitely used to assert cause. Why is that building disappearing? Oh, well, the cause is Earth curve. So our opponents assert cause and effect relationships in the first instance, and their priests assert science. That's why it's important.
I get it. I stand corrected. I get it.
Did you want to... I don't mind. Everyone's asleep here, Anthony. So if you wanted to do your example, and I don't mind if someone wants to play Poe for you, and then we've got John's example, and then we'll round out the after show. Hopefully it'll be less than half an hour for those two things.
Hopefully, if I can nominate Chocolate, if he's up for a bit of friendly banter, not designed to trip him up, just to see if he's switched on. Chocolate, are you up for this? Seemingly not. Anybody else want to play the victim?
Who wants to play Flat Earth victim? Anthony the Poe.
I don't know what that means, but I'll do it.
Anonymoto, I had first. Yes.
Let's go. I don't know what I'm doing, but go ahead. Am I a baller or am I a flat earther?
You're a flatty.
No, I'm going to be the baller. I'm going to present my evidence for gravity, and I want someone on our side, the flat Earth side, to challenge it critically and tell me how stupid I am.
I'll give it a shot.
You up for that, Anon?
Yeah.
You're cool? Yeah?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Right, you're on. Go.
I need to screen share. There's no trips in this. There's no gotchas in it. It's just a case of can we, if I present this as evidence of gravity, can we critically analyze it on our side so that it's not Nathan doing it or me or John, it's somebody else. So I'm going to say this is proof of gravity, you morons. This proves that there is a mass attracting mass. And what this is a weight being hung from a twine attached to a set of scales. And the weight measured, the last two numbers are what you need to be looking at. 6, 6. Whatever the rest of the numbers are, doesn't matter, but it's 6, 6 is the last two numbers. And then I'm going to get a big Cavendish lead ball. I'm going to pull it underneath the weight. And because it's in very close proximity to the weight, the mass of the lead ball is directly pulling against the mass of the thing. And now it goes up to 6, 7. And that proves that there is a mass attracting mass. What have you guys got to say about this? So what I'll do is I'll just show it again from the bit where he pulls the ball in. So
do it without the editing, please.
Yeah, that's the key point. So I was told this was proof.
It was supposed to be a non. Damn you, Travis.
Hold on.
I don't want that to go sparingly though. So can you repeat yourself, Travis?
I said or requested that it be done without the editing.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: even if they did it without the editing, it'd still be suspect because I mean, these days you can have, Barack Obama sing, "Happy Birthday" or whatever.
Yeah, for me, it's this transition there where it goes from when he pulls the ball under, then he goes to the zoom in, and now he jumps from there to there. But he doesn't show the cause being this change was caused by pulling the ball in. He doesn't show that moment of causation. So that the rebuttal I got was, well, are you saying it's fraud? And I'm saying, no, I'm saying that this fails to prove causation. But if you want to think of it as causation, you can do. So it's all to do with that cut. When he pulled the ball
Didn't P.
across,
Mars try something like this with a little weight under a triangle or something like that? He did something like this trying to prove gravity.
I don't remember. It's just this cut now. Once it makes that cut to there, he hasn't shown what's caused that to do that. He's implied it, but not expressly proved it. And I was being told
you keep
that this
repeating
proves
yourself.
gravity.
I want this to
It
be an
also
argument.
could prove
Oh, God,
electrostatic
hold on. I just want this to be a claim, not 5 repetitions of the claim, Anthony. Typical globehead. Right. So what's the rebuttal then? We've had don't like the editing so far.
We've had the fact that it's video and there's a cut, and even if there wasn't a cut, if there was not a cut, it'd still be suspect because, like I said, the camera work these days are just ridiculous. They can do anything. I've seen Avatar, so that means nothing.
We've got that.
Number two is the
anything further
static. Number two is the static electricity that's within that iron sphere, and static electricity is a thing. So unless they have accounted for that, unless they, grounded both those things before they brought them together, it's still unknown.
Okay. Anybody else on the panel got any other rebuttals for Anthony?
If Lily will be quiet for a second, I can try to. I've thought of a possible thing that could cause it. There's less. Of course, so she decides to do that. Sorry. Let me see if she can calm down. Then I'll get back on.
It's just like Eleanor.
Any response to the rebuttals you've had so far, Anthony? Then I'm going to summarise. If not.
No, I think the point's been made perfectly. I think that it is all about that cut. It doesn't show cause, it doesn't prove cause, and if you're a ball earther presenting that as proof of mass attracted mass, then that debunks Einstein, and Einstein's considered to be the current science. So good luck with debunking Einstein that everybody apparently accepts according to what we're told.
Any more for any more? When this is Paul, go ahead. Just do it with the screaming.
Okay,
I don't mind.
she gets quiet. Then okay. Basically, one of the other factors too is there's less air actually when the ball's moved into it. There's less air underneath of the triangle, so the barometric pressure could be potentially reduced underneath of it. So that could be a factor that's causing it to seem heavier because there's less air. I know that it doesn't sound right, but if relative density is a part to play in it, then that could be a factor as well.
Okay. Any more for any more? Is that it? I want to exhaust all of them. Right. Bad panel. All of you. Very bad panel. Everybody bend over and get spanked. Right.
Precisely.
You are all terrible. Right. What does John do? Just think, what would John do?
Not an observed phenomenon.
Observable phenomenon.
Right. A none, you beautiful bastard. You were in there first.
But listen, I'm gonna say something and then I'm gonna hang up.
Say it again. Just
the
say
same
it again.
quantum, no observable phenomena. The observable phenomena is conjured up within the apparatus.
Beautiful.
But the same thing can be said. But the same thing can be said about quantum eraser experiment. So I'm gonna leave now. Good day.
Don't hijack the point.
Because John, I don't want to get banned.
Don't hijack the point to make your own point. Right, stealing your motivation out of this point. There's been an argument.
Motivation.
I've been really patient. I've let everybody get their points out. Right? Did you have this point to insert then? No. But now I've tried to make an actual point. You're going to rumpus the shit out of it. It's unreasonable, Anon. Right? There's a real point to be made here. Not your little aside. You can have that whenever you like. Just not at this very moment. I mean, I'm serious. Do you think this is the appropriate moment, right? So everybody's had their 2 pennyworth. I've said they're all bad, jokingly. And then it's time to make the actual point, the devastating bit of the argument. You do it, but then use that to make another point. That's totally unreasonable, man. Come on, play fair.
You want to get his ass tore up
again?
again?
Can I please say something? Can I please say something?
You want to get your ass tore up again, don't you?
It's not
supernatural bird nest idiot.
Oh, God. Now it's
Yeah.
lost in rumpusing. We could have had, right, this could have been, right, a little bit of education for the viewer. Somebody could have actually realised, but now it's going to get lost in this nonsense, isn't it, Anon? Rather than the point
That's why I
getting
said
made...
I was going to hang up. I'll just drop.
Oh, why? You're the one that actually made the point. Ah, unbelievable. So Rage quit instead because he doesn't get to hijack this point, which nobody made until the point that I said bad dogs. So observed natural phenomena. What's step one? If this is claimed to be scientific evidence, nobody's made that claim, but it looks pretty sciencey to me, and if it's not, it's just a contraption. We ask for scientific evidence of gravity, that's what this falls under. Demonstration, claimed to be demonstration of gravity. Step one, what's the phenomena that we're observing? Oh, what's that you say, the number changing on this man-made machine? That's your phenomena. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I think they would claim that the observed phenomena is objects appear to fall down, and it appears to be caused by a mass attractive mass.
Don't be that baller. Come on, shake that. Take the wig off. Do it. Right. What's the phenomena, Anthony? What's being shown? What's claimed to be the phenomena?
Objects on a spring appear to get stretched if a ball gets passed underneath it.
But I didn't see any stretching spring. I saw a number change.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, all we saw was the digit change on the little scale.
Chocolate, you were supposed to be the one that was answering this, so you decided to come in after it.
It was Anon, he did.
I'm not aware, I'm busy, man. I can't just...
I'm going to give kudos, right? He rage quit, and now I'm going to give him praise. Because the only one that got this, admittedly with a little bit of leading from me, saying what would QE do, was Anon. He got it immediately.
Yeah, but he couldn't help himself, Mr. Supernatural Bird's Nest. What's the observed phenomena in the quantum eraser experiment? Like all the brain... What is wrong with you people? Right? What is wrong with you? Here, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it real calmly. Okay. For the masses out there that have this bug up their ass, okay? You can go back to the quantum eraser presentation. I put it in each presentation, observed phenomena. Okay, so let me break it down for you one more time. Is everyone listening?
I'm listening.
The observed phenomena in the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment by Yun-Hoo Kim in 1999. Diffraction. Okay? Thanks. Over.
Have you got a presentation to do?
Copy that.
Yeah, short one.
But that really annoys me. So, you know, my vision going forward is to let the debate roll through, let everybody have their say, every rebuttal get heard, and then after the fact go, okay, what is the actual housekeeping question that we're asking here? Any scientific evidence of gravity? There's a reason it's phrased that way. If you're going to claim cause and effect, half the time they don't know which one it is. Is gravity an effect or a cause? They haven't got a clue half the time. The point is, once you're trying to establish which one they've got, well then you're going to definitely be using science to establish it. If you've got an effect that you need to study the cause of, or a cause that you think is going to cause an effect that you claim. Either way, science is applicable. So when they show you some contraption and some number changing on the contraption, well, let's just run this through the scientific method. What exactly is the phenomena here? Mass attracting mass, you see. Let's see that in nature.
Right. And they can't define mass. They won't even be able to get past that. But usually we give them a bone, we let them get past it, and then they train wreck themselves with the independent-dependent variable every single time.
I mean, I did it with Anthony the other day, and I was like, hang on a second, can I catch Anthony out on his experiment? I was like, okay, well, what's your observed phenomena then? And he was like, stuff falls down. I'm like, does it?
No,
and then he was like,
no,
sometimes we observe things that fall through water and sink when other things don't. Sometimes
No. I object to that misrepresentation of.
Yeah, you're straw manning him, man.
Yeah, I didn't say that. Should I correct you, or would you like to restate what I did say?
No, you correct me. I sort of semi-intentionally did it. I can't remember. I can't.
Rebuttal.
Well, I asked you what did you think of my points, and you said, "What's the observed phenomena?" And I said, some objects appear to go up, some objects appear to go down, and some objects appear to suspend within the medium. And your reaction was, "Meh," and I was like, "Yeah, it is valid."
No, it is valid. You know, I can easily picture watching a leaf on the surface of some water for a prolonged period of time, and eventually, given enough time, it would sink.
Yeah, it is valid. You know why?
Go on.
Because I gave it to him.
Because it's mine.
Hang on, I don't think John did give me that.
Well, it stood the acid test. I had to immediately.
Hold on a second, Nathan. Now come on now, Anthony.
Did you? Maybe you did. I can't remember, to be honest. But I won't remind you. Remind me. I don't remember. But did you?
Yes.
Like I say,
but that's okay. It's not a big deal.
It is not a big deal. It is, because it immediately passed the acid test. You know, I thought, there's no way I'm going to have some tosser in the comments saying, "You didn't ask him if he got an observed phenomena." So I was like, "Observed phenomena, please, Anthony." And immediately, I had to immediately concede. I was like, "No." I think someone like Spurs took up the reins after I'd just been pummeled. And I was like, "Look, man, I've just shut up because I've been pummeled by him. If you want to carry on, go ahead."
That is hilarious. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks for the shout out, man.
I'll give you a break. The amount of your arguments I just take credit for.
That it's no problem. It's not a big deal. I mean, that's a good observed phenomena, though, right?
Yeah,
I think so. And we do have a valid independent variable. We do have a valid dependent variable. We can give it we physically can give it a wiggle to prove the causation factor. It's just that when dickhead morons come ahead and say, you didn't actually, you manipulated the density, but something else caused it. And we're like, what do you mean? Something else caused, so you're dismissing the independent variable that I did manipulate for one that you imply that I didn't.
Riley, you didn't manipulate it because of my lack of understanding of how it's manipulated. It's not manipulated.
Sean G.
Yeah, Sean Little G. His name
Shout out retracted.
His nickname's Sean Little G now because he doesn't understand Einsteinian gravity, so therefore it doesn't exist. So he puts his fingers in his ears and goes la 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 la.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about this here in a little bit. When you told Bob, the pseudoscience fallacy guy, that an independent variable, he gave a citation, independent variable must be systematically manipulated by the researcher, and the brain dead idiot said, but you're not understanding what it says. I couldn't believe it. Are you a grown adult?
Yeah,
he gave him he gave him 10 citations all saying the same thing, right? From different universities. Anthony, you're just not understanding what it's saying. Are you kidding me, Bob?
Do you know?
You mean like supersede?
Yeah,
supersede apparently means explains on. Because I forgot that. Remember in Sean G's little hangout? He said a couple of times, supersede just means it explains on. I'm like, what?
Anthony, I'm going to tell you what. You keep on going on Jose's, you're gonna put me. They're gonna pound the final nail in the coffin, brother. Because my therapist needs a therapist.
The thing that I like about Jose's, and I don't mean this in a good or a bad way, it's just an observation, right? If I can get one of them one-on-one and I don't get interrupted, they'll be nailed to the cross like a crucifixion. And I just need that time to get them cornered. But what's bizarre is when after the event, I've heard people like Sean G going up to Bob, the no science guy, and basically patting him on the back, saying that he really kicked my ass. And then Bob would say, yeah, he really got schooled. And I'm like,
even though you've already got a couple of toe tags under your belt with Farmer's Boy and Sean Little G and Sean Hawkins.
Yeah. We got toe tags for all of them.
Hold on. What is that though? I mean, in the most literal sense of the word, that is delusional.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. It's a mass delusion. It's a Dunning-Kruger mass delusion. That's what it is.
Yeah, I agree. It's
there. There you go, chemo. That's my diagnosis.
I've got to the point where no matter how bad it is for them, they will always claim victory no matter what. And it's like, I mean, for example, I heard Farmer's Boy say the other day, somebody asked him, what's his best proof for living on a sphere? And he goes, sunrise and sunsets. And I was like, oh, right, really? Next time I catch you, mate, I'm going to ask you what causes that. And we know what's not going to happen. He's not going to have any evidence to prove that the Earth turns. He's going to claim it, and then they'll all pat him on the back. But the reality is there is no scientific evidence at all that we're turning or orbiting anything. But they all think that we are.
There is a danger, though.
That's why.
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say that's why I won't. I'm very cautious about who I go and debate now, because there's no actual when you're debating the other side, they will not concede anything.
There's no intellectual honesty.
I debated Sean Hawkins and slaughtered him.
They act like a political organization rather than an honest debater.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but what happens is hold on a second. What happens is over at the clown show, when these people start getting their asses handed to them, guess what that retard Jose does? He starts letting more people in. All the ballers come in, right? And then you got 10 ballers against one person.
Right.
That's exactly what they do. No one calls them. They did it to Anthony the other day. I was friggin' I lost my mind. I wanted to come through the computer screen, right? That he does it real subtle, but wake up, people, right? He's a crayon muncher. And that's all they do. What he did yesterday, he said, Anthony, you have to stop screen sharing. Why? Why does he have to stop screen sharing? Because I want to see your icons. What the fuck? No, you want Anthony to take his screen share off because the citation on screen is handing that idiot baller his ass. Right? Yeah. And you ballers don't call him out for that? Right? It's unbelievable. It's a clown show of epic proportions. It's just like ED. We called erectile dysfunction ED. It was Earth discussions back in the day, where you had those crayon munchers come in. It was like 10 or 15 ballers, right? And then you get one baller that come in. Only 3 people were watching the show at any one time. Yeah, I call it erectile dysfunction with those idiots. Does anyone remember that little fiasco?
Yeah, I know ED.
Of course.
Yeah. So he's just doing it. All Jose's doing it.
There is a way to get these.
Oh God!
To get these ball earthers who have been so. Well, you see, how I see it is that these guys believe the citations and the papers that have been written. The problem is that they've never seen the experiment that goes with the paper. So what I've been trying to do with the ball earthers, which is begging the question, which guys you don't like, but what I've realized is that they have a paper, but they have no experiment. So if we can show the experiments to the paper and then show, like, for example, Cavendish in a vacuum, there was no attraction, or things don't fall at the same rate in a vacuum. Then
you were going good there for a second, Spurs. You just went off the rails there. You had a good point. You had a good point. Hold on a second. You had a good point.
The papers, they say there's peer-reviewed papers, right?
Spurs! You had a good point, right? That every citation needs support. You can't just read it and then that's it. I've said this a number of times. I don't care who says it. I don't care Richard Feynman, whoever says it. You gotta have support for it. That citation. Or otherwise, it's just a baseless assertion fallacy. That's it. So you had a good point.
You were here,
my point is that all of them in the back of their heads are saying, well, we've got a paper, we've got a citation, so somebody somewhere has done an experiment, obviously, in their mind. And it's like, well, no, we don't have an actual experiment with your paper. And this is what I'm trying to do with the ball earthers, is get Cavendish in a vacuum so they can see for themselves.
Why?
And then as I showed them with that...
Hold on, John, let me try. Okay, no worries. Anthony, you there?
Yeah.
So earlier yesterday, somebody provided me with a paper for an experiment that claimed to prove gravity. And I did as you said, Spurs. I said, oh, well, I actually want to see this experiment. And lo and behold, Anthony came up with this experiment. Can we show this experiment, please, Anthony? The one that you showed
Which
us.
one?
You only had it
Which
on
one?
a few moments ago.
Oh yeah, okay. 1 sec.
We'll just put it on screen. I'll describe it. I know you're in Discord.
I'm on it. Where with me?
While Anthony's digging that out, so there's a scale, and it's suspended, and he has a little triangle attached to a weight that's pulling down on a cord on a very, very accurate scale. Extremely accurate scale, I might add. Right? He then rolls in, or drags along on a plank, a ball made of lead. And then the scale shows that it's slightly more heavy. So, there you go, Spurs. We've now conformed to your request that it's not just a citation and a reference, it's an actual demonstration of the experiment. Where are you going to go from here, Spurs?
So they've cited a paper, and we've produced an experiment to that paper.
No, the baller on the panel gave me papers, and I said, Spurs said, you've got to actually show the experiment, because you don't always have an experiment, you just have these papers you refer to. We want to see the actual experiment. And then Sleeping Warrior was given by the same globe head the actual experiment, a demonstration, a video of that happening. Now I'm asking you, given that we've not just had papers, we've met your standards and got the actual quote-unquote experiment, where are you going to go from here to debunk it?
Because is that experiment repeatable?
Yes.
That's the question. That's
yes,
why we
it
go.
is.
Again,
yeah.
it's like NASA have
Spurs, let's keep it snappy. Spurs, is it repeatable? Yes, it is. Yeah. Next question. That doesn't debunk it. So where are you going to go from here, Spurs?
Do we see a repeatable test?
We've already covered that. Yes.
I haven't seen
What's
that.
next,
That's just you
Spurs?
saying so.
Spurs,
But whatever the
even
point
if
is,
Spurs, I concede it's repeatable. Next. That doesn't debunk it.
No, you're missing my point. No, you're missing my point. Then.
Even
Spurs,
why don't you make an actual point?
Spurs, this does not debunk it. Saying I don't understand is just pulling the globe head tactic. You don't understand? Yeah, I do, and I understand how to debunk it. I've done it on this show. You just didn't listen. So where are you going to go from here, Spurs? We've listened to you, and John's got annoyed with you, and you've talked over him, and he said, no. And I've now taken you to the conclusion of what you've suggested we do. Get them to show an experiment. They've done that. So when they show Cavendish in a vacuum, what are you going to do then?
if they show Cavendish in a vacuum where there's an attraction, well then we have to find out why they're moving. What's the cause? Nothing to do with flat Earth, but they're moving for a reason. I'm interested in why.
So
when
they then have a very elaborate explanation to that, and it kind of technically makes sense. If you presuppose a couple of things, will you then just concede that it's true, Sperskimo, or are you going to get them to actual point at any point here?
What is this? What are we talking about? We're looking for the one independent variable that's making the balls move. They say it's gravity, and I'm saying it's not. It's something else. So we have to go through the experiment vacuum.
I heard, Spurs.
Move the
Spurs, I heard. Don't ramble on indefinitely. We've got the critical bit. So you claim we need to find the cause of what now?
Again, because you're not understanding what I'm saying. I'm not arguing with you. I'm begging the question.
You're not saying anything,
Spurs.
So why don't you have an actual freaking point instead of these stupid intros all the time?
Spurs, I'm not having the argument with you. I'm trying to educate you on how to debunk it. But you think I'm trying to actually have this argument with you. Like I can't take a dump on it in about 15 seconds flat. I'm trying to educate you. Lead you. So you can debunk it in future. But you don't want to be led. It's like pulling teeth. So Spurs, we've got to the point where I've asked you, we are going to try and establish the cause of what exactly?
Of why the balls are moving.
Okay.
I didn't say attraction.
No, I don't need any more. You're being led, Spurs. That doesn't mean I need endless bloody waffle from you. You just need to confirm something you've already said to get the conversation back on track. Yeah, the balls being attracted to one another. So, Spurs, here's the critical detail. Try to listen really closely. Balls attracting one another on a torsion bar in a vacuum is not a natural phenomena. Step 1 of the scientific method is observe a natural phenomena. So, by way of ascertaining if it's adhered to the scientific method, that being, does it have step 1, observe a natural phenomena, the answer, when you tell me that the effect, natural phenomena dependent variable, effect, is definitely not a natural effect, this falls immediately outside of science and into pseudoscience. Okay, Spurs, do you understand?
That was always understood. I mean, again, this is not what the exercise is all about. It's getting the
All right, so you're basically saying no. Let me just translate that for you, Nathan. No.
You could say this in the face. It's not a natural phenomenon. It's not a natural phenomenon. 1,000 times to the ball earthers, they'll just say, yes, it is. So it is. Yes, it is. They're not going to hear what you're saying, are they? They're not interested in whether it's a natural phenomena or not. That's my point. We've said it a million times.
Then what you do,
debating with them. You just want to get in between them, right?
Hold on. You looked up what zealot was, didn't you? That's what they are. At that point, that's what they are. They're zealots.
You snicker at them and you say, thank you for your time. Goodbye.
Do you mind if I make a statement on this?
Sure. And then we've got 4 minutes left before we can get John's presentation. Hopefully squeeze it in. Or have you done it already? Was that part of your rhetoric until now?
You're talking about my small presentation? You're only giving me 4 minutes?
Well, I like to round out on the hour. This recording's been going for 56 minutes.
Yeah, but it's not on the hour. I got 10:36 here.
No, not
Nathan,
on the.
you can't give him. You got to give him longer.
Hold on. Did you just presuppose the concept of time that I'm applying?
You're on a different convention than I am, man.
You're on a very different convention to me here, John.
Look, all I'm going to do, Nathan, is look at. We've got a ball earther in here. Menace to sobriety. So, Menace, if
you need to increase the gravity so the time is synchronized again.
you saw in a vacuum that there was no attraction with these two balls, and if you saw in a vacuum that things didn't fall at the same rate, what would it mean to you? If you did an experiment yourself over and over again, you repeated, things didn't fall at the same rate, and no matter how long you waited, that you could not see an attraction in the vacuum. What does it mean to the ball earther? That's what I need to know.
It's meaningless, Spurs. Okay, Spurs, if I ask you why on an air hockey table the puck levitates all the time when you apply the air to it, yeah? Does it matter? Is it a natural phenomena of air hockey?
That's not the point. I just want to know
Just
what
answer my
it
question.
means to a ball
Just answer my
earther.
question. Spurs, please, just play along. Just answer my question. If I ask you to explain any effect of that puck in it's levitating, let's be honest. If I ask you to explain anything to do with that levitating puck, would you ever consider it necessary in the natural world to explain that as an effect?
No, not if I had a presupposed idea. They have already a presupposed. They've been indoctrinated. So again,
okay. Spurs, this is a back and forth. I get it. Spurs, that's your rebuttal. Spurs, that's your rebuttal. They've already got a presupposed idea. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you that I'm of such a religious position that I believe that men can levitate. It's very, very rare. You've got to be very, very enlightened. And my example of it is going to be about the natural phenomena of levitation. Yeah? And it's going to be using apparatus akin to, it's not going to be an air hockey machine, but the principle will be the same. But I'm going to use that to explain the natural phenomena of levitation. Is that acceptable?
Yes, I saw it on the telly.
Not you,
Well,
Arwen.
again, to the
Spurs.
ball earthers, again, if you spend time with the ball earthers, you'll realize that they go with consensus. So it doesn't matter what one person says. You could say, well, I understand levitation like this. The person would say, well, what does everybody else think? What does and you would say, well, I don't care what everybody else thinks. I only care about what you and I think, right?
I
get all of that.
I've done it deliberately.
But
in
I'm
this
trying to find out
I
from the
know,
ball earthers,
Spurs.
You haven't had an answer.
I know. That's why I led you this way. Arwen, I'm trying so bloody hard here with Spurs.
Sorry, it's just...
Spurs. I've led you down a path that has me alone with this religious belief in levitation. No appeal to consensus. It's me and my religious belief in levitation. Now, when I quantify it with an example and an experiment, it's going to be using akin to air hockey-like demonstrations of levitation. Now, what I'm asking you is it reasonable for me, the one with a religious belief in levitation, to assert that an air hockey machine is a natural phenomena to make my example with?
Oh, again, of course not. No, of course not.
Okay.
But again,
just to know. So why, if it's not acceptable for me, the levitating religious zealot, to not accept your immediate disregard of it, why would it be acceptable for the consensus of religious zealots to disregard it?
that's what they've been told, and they don't see any reason why they've been lied to. Which is why
No. Let me expand. Okay. Let me expand my example. So, are you saying that if I tell 10 million people about levitation and they all believe me, that makes my example of a levitating table example suddenly a natural phenomena because lots of people believe my example?
To them, yes. To them, yes. That's what you've told them since they were 5 years old.
I know to them.
You've wrote about
yeah.
You wrote about it, Nathan. You've never shown. You've never shown the children a demonstration.
I just need a yes.
Get your point.
Oh my god. Yeah, to them. That's included in my example. I've indoctrinated 10 million people. So yes, that's obvious. It's in my example. Yes, to them. But does that make the hockey table suddenly become a natural phenomena?
I'm gonna make my tea because this is look. You're trying to.
Yes
We're
or
getting
no?
it's an argument we agree on.
Yes or no, Spurs
And
Schemo,
we
you
agree.
freaking red herring salesman. Can't you just freaking answer a question?
You better answer him,
fundamental
Spurs,
things, like
because
no
Arwen is
teaching.
going to have an embolism.
Look, you have to get a ball earther to answer this. I can't answer. You should be saying this to a ball earther.
I'm asking you, Spurs. I'm asking you. I'm asking you, right? I have just... just let me give you my example again, Spurs. Why is it that you're rumpusing the crap out of me when I'm trying to help you? Literally, I'm trying to help you here. I'm trying to help. And you don't want it. You don't want it, Spurs. You don't want help. I'm trying to explain to you that you have said no. No, the hockey table doesn't become a phenomena just because I've asserted it so with a religious belief. Now we've moved on to me indoctrinating 10 million people into the same belief as I have. So when I say the hockey table is an experiment, yes, I don't need you to confirm this. I already have made it in my point that the 10 million people I indoctrinated also believe what I say. But for you, Spurs, does that change the status of the hockey table from non-observed phenomena, not natural, to suddenly becoming a natural phenomena? Yes or no?
Obviously, no. Obviously, we know this. I'm not arguing this point. Am I? I'm not arguing about that. I've said it a million times. I'm stepping into their world to beg the question, to see how they respond, to seeing what they've been told about levitating tables. If we actually see a table that doesn't levitate, how do they respond? That's what I want to know. That's it.
Spurs, you've missed the bit where I conceded that they've been brainwashed into believing what I tell them. Regardless of you saying, right, if the reality is that the hockey table's not a phenomena and never will be, yeah? You're saying, but if I accept that it is and then try and figure out why they accept it, you're saying, well, if I just beg the question, what that means, Spurs, is automatically assume the outcome. So you're saying if I automatically assume levitation is true and then try and figure out why the experiment is wrong, you are automatically failing the moment you beg that question. So you're saying, I want to understand levitating religious zealots.
I disagree because I've seen Rumpus's response when he didn't see things fall at the same rate. Their response is different. I don't think you're getting this. They believe in the paper because the paper backs up an experiment. That's why they believe the papers. They've never seen the experiment. So once you show them the experiment, they're like, there must be something wrong with the experiment.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Right.
I get it. I get it. You're saying once you accept that levitation is real and you go into their understanding that it is absolutely a real thing, and then you show them a hockey table that doesn't levitate, how do they react? They all are amazed.
Right.
But does it change fundamentally their religious belief? No, Spurs, because it doesn't attack the actual issue.
Because then they have to think, well, if there's no force, then what is all of this? What's going on? You know, if there's no attraction, you know, they have to revise everything. Like, everything has to start again. You know, if there's no gravity, as we've been told, not a force, and there's no attraction, well, then what is it? No, they know that now there's not a vacuum in space.
You're an enabler. You're enabling religious zealotry.
Exactly.
Why don't you stop expose the religious fanatical zealotry and then move on? Because you're not going to convert fanatical religious zealotry.
It's not like that. It's not like God, where you say, well, okay, let's try and I can show you that God is not real. We can show that this force is not real. There's no real forces. Can anyone show that God is not real?
I can't stand this. It's driving me mad. It's driving me mad. He's now equivocated, right? God with a fundamentalist religious belief. It's just outrageous.
What?
Yeah,
No,
and
that's
you
not
better
outrageous.
stop it because Arwen, you're going to have to. Arwen's going to need Arwen's going to need hospitalized after this if you don't stop.
Someone's got 911 on standby, right?
What? I'm just overheated here.
It's just very hot where Arwen is.
It's really freaking hot. I basically took shelter.
Kind of hot in these rhinos.
Spurs, you're spending so much time with being forced to beg the question that you want to you like insisting to us that we work within their parameters of zealotry. And we can't.
No, don't say that. I'm not asking you to beg the question. I'm saying or any flat earther to beg the question. I'm saying for me, how I can get through, or over the finish line with them is to show that what they believe to be true is not real. Like I just said, if I have a belief that God is real, can anybody show me God is not real? It's impossible, right? But if there's a force that they believe is real, a tangible force that they think is real, that they can make measurements from.
He's repeating the same thing over again.
I know. It's just verbal. It becomes the claim 5 times.
To explain the displacement, okay? Anchored in actual scientific proof and not a gravity that has no independent variable as gravity. So, yeah, you can explain it, Spurs Schema.
Well, don't worry about it. Hold on. Before everyone gives their treatment and therapy advice, I want to give mine. It's going to be real short. What you do, you have to get them alone, right? And then you need 10 people to jump on top of them. And because the religious zealotry is dug in like an Alabama tick, you got to hold them down, and then you got to get a fork, right? And somebody's got to get in there and dig that tick out.
I like
That's
his
what you
idea.
got first. Then start the conversation after that. That'll be $50, please.
But that only really works if it's squad mates. If you're going to do that with a stranger, that's going to yield some nasty results.
This analogy, Spurs, is you saying, what I want is to go into the tick-infested environment, get ticks, and then figure out from there how to deal with them.
Well, Chemo's more enlightened on this whole subject than you for doing that, Nathan. So,
do you not think
I compare it to the movie They Live? John just said, stick a fork in them and gouge out this virus or whatever it is. And I compare this to the movie They Live, when the guy was trying to get the other guy to put the glasses on, He was like, just no. So they had a fight. He was trying to physically force the glasses on the guy. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. People need time to process, to realize. And like I said, the more you shout at them, the further they regress. They go back and they just think, no, that's not how you would go about a conversation anyway. If you were trying to tell me the truth, you would work with me. These ball earthers want you to work with them. So if that's the case, fine. Let's get a Cavendish. Let's get a vacuum. Let's see what you believe. Now,
oh my goodness,
there is no
he's getting a
force.
vacuum again.
Why is it fine to get into their neurotic behavior and just accept that?
I'm trying to help. I'm trying to get them out. I'm trying to get them out.
You can't get them out. You can't get them out by going along with it.
Hold on.
You can't force
You know
them out.
anything about psychology? Okay, if somebody's neurotic, what you do is you don't allow them to just do it because it'll get worse, actually.
Right. Yeah, you're enabling them.
Or they'll pull you into
hold on,
it.
just 1 second.
That's
Just 1
exactly-
second.
he's an
Just 1
enabler.
second. John, can you disconnect and reconnect? Your mic's terrible.
I have to disagree. Ball earthers enable each other. What flat earthers do, whenever you're talking to a ball earther, they know in the back of your mind that you don't believe them. So, every time you speak to them or when they speak to us, we're on guard, right? Are they trying to trick us? Are they trying to set us up, corner us? So you're always on an attack or defense situation. There's never a relax where you accept, oh, okay, they believe there's a force. It's not enabling at all. I think the ball earthers enable each other, and that's the support that they need. They need, oh, yeah, there is a force. Oh, yeah, there is a force. Oh, yeah, there is a force. That's the enabling part of it all. When we're trying to, well, I would say I'm trying to look at what, a different aspects, a different way. It's not enabling it in any way at all. Enabling it would be allowing them to believe this without questioning. So I'm questioning their beliefs. It's pressure, right? Stressful for them. Oh, I have to explain a force. Oh, I know you don't believe me, and I have to explain something that you don't believe me already. So it's very difficult for them to do. So there's no enabling each other amongst like we wouldn't mind enabling each other and flat earthers. Oh yeah, we have what we kind of do. So no, I don't think flat earthers or me myself is enabling them because they can't rest with this force. Like they can't relax, and believe that this is a real thing. So yeah, I just have to disagree.
Why can't they relax? Why can't they relax and rest and just be easy with their ball? Why are they in this discussion if the notion that they don't live on a ball bothers them that much? That's my question.
You've got Menace here. I've been trying to ask him. Is he here? Menace to sobriety. Are you here?
Before you establish that, can you hear us now, John? Can you just check your mic's okay? Because you can. Hopefully,
is it? Yeah, is it okay?
Perfect. Whenever you're ready, just let me know because all I'm waiting for is your presentation, and then I'll round out this after show.
Yeah, it's about 5 minutes.
Spurs, that doesn't mean don't have your conversation with Menace. Feel free.
Oh, sorry, yeah, no, I just wanted to ask any ball earther, and I'd like you to hear it as well from a ball earther, what it means to them if light is not a constant, if gravity is not a constant, or this force is not a constant, if it's not a thing, it means something to them. So, Menace, if you are here, I don't know if your mic's working or whatever, but, if you did Cavendish in a vacuum and they didn't move, or you did the ball and feather in a vacuum and they fell at different rates, what does it mean to you? What does that tell you? I don't think he's here.
He's given up.
But that's the kind of thing yeah, sorry, go on.
He's given up, Spurs. We give up.
Yeah. But that's what that interests me to know. Because, like I said, Rumpus was horrified when he saw that the things didn't fall at the same rate. He's made every excuse under the sun. So I would like to know if Rumpus did his own experiment.
I'm sorry to overtalk you, but Spurs, I'm sorry to overtalk you, but you said Rumpus. This is a person that said air is not the atmosphere. Now, are you going to be able to discuss any subject of any complexity after that? I mean, beyond how's the weather?
Right.
See, that's where your problem
someone
is.
like if you want someone like Rumpus to be shown for what they truly are, which is a fundy, if you want these people to be seen, you have to get, an audience with Rumpus and an experiment.
Spurs.
And show
When you ask Rumpus, when Rumpus said he took air and had air in a bottle, right? And then you asked him, where did he get that air? And he said, from the atmosphere. The same air that he just said was not the atmosphere. You understand
Rumpus is
that,
a bit
right?
too extreme. Yeah, okay, not Rumpus. He is an extreme example.
Thank you.
We would just say because he did say I'll just believe in NASA. So yeah, but most of the ball earthers, if you were to show them, an experiment, they'd be honest. They would say yes, they're not falling at the same rate. Okay,
They don't know what experiments are. Neither do you. That's the problem, and you're enabling this fanatical religious zealotry. That's the problem, Spurs.
Test, not experiment. Test. Yeah, so just to test whether things fall at the same rate.
When you say test in a scientific context, that's an experiment. An experiment is a test. So don't do that.
Okay, no more testing.
No, you can have tests.
Find a way of describing.
Follow the scientific method. So, this is exhausting. Did Nathan give up?
Not gonna entertain.
Yeah, I gave up ages ago. I thought you'd figured that out. I mean, I'll summarise for you again, Spurs, if you want to, but
I'll mute now anyway.
Dealing with zealots, they're going to adhere to their belief regardless of what you say. The way to end this argument in regards to Cavendish is to assert the obvious. There is no phenomena. That's it.
Yes, the Reverend John Michel Cavendish. Don't forget about that. Thank you.
Is there any more? Will Rumpus sing into you if I put John up for his presentation?
Please, John, go.
I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. This should be quick. Okay.
Hold on, John. Go ahead, Arwin.
I think in general, Spreskimo, you're highly underestimating the tenacity of this religious belief. You're underestimating it, comparing it to more average mental issues. It's not. It's much more enforced. Most mental issues aren't generally enforced, except maybe by advertisement or anything in that regard, but they're still recognized as problems and you can seek out help for it. Well, try to find some psychological help for ballers, for ball belief religion. That's not going to happen. So it's so much more difficult to deal with it. And you can't just treat it like it's any other mental disorder or anything. It's way too reinforced. That's it.
Sorry.
Thank you, Arwin. Any more for any more? I'm going to take that as a no. Woe betide anybody who interrupts you, John.
All right, Tip, you got my screen up?
I have.
So we have a new kid on the block. Name is Brian Peck. Yoo-hoo, Brian Peck. Peckerhead. The Life of Brian Peckerwood. He's the new bozo over on Jose Retard Show that challenged Anthony with, guess what? Time being an independent variable. That buffoonery. Now, I have a certain level of contempt with the rank and file knuckle dragon spinning space monkeys, but there's a special place I have reserved for your ilk, sir. Alleged intellectuals. All that in a bag of chips. In this case, a self-professed internal medicine doc. Sir, you're going to wish you never said that, Peckerwood. Where'd you get that mail-order degree from, clown? Tuco Community College in Tobago. You compromised yourself the instant you opened that incoherent pie hole of yours, dumbass. So let's go over this for like the 25th time. It's not only particular to you because all you knuckleheads believe this crap. So, viable independent variables must satisfy 3 criterion. Number 1, it's your presumed cause. You see this one right here. It's not just vary and manipulate it, although that's one of the criterion. Number 2, the researcher must be able to vary and manipulate it. And number 3, the independent variable must demonstrably exist before you use it in an experiment. All 3 criterion must be satisfied, not just one. You see this? So, height, depth, width, length, distances, and time are not viable independent variables. Let's go through a couple of them, and then I'll concentrate on time here in a second. The submarine was crushed at a depth of 10,000 feet. Did depth cause the sub to implode, or was it pressure? Number 2, the gentleman was so obese he measured 1 meter wide. Did width cause obesity, or was it laziness combined with excessive caloric intake? Now, on to time. Over the course of the night, the sun suddenly appeared above the horizon. Did time cause the sun to appear above the horizon? Does time cause the difference of scores between the first and third quarters? Did time cause the dough to rise? Does time cause the new roof to appear? Does time cause gravity? Or can we just think of it as time? Did time cause the universe to poof itself into existence from pre-existence? You see how silly these are, Peckerwood? You silly wabbit. Tricks are for retards. And by the way, from the University of Texas, there can only be one independent variable and one dependent variable in an experiment. Everything else that can impact the experiment must be kept constant or controlled. These are known as controls. So, Crayon Muncher, if time is always the independent variable, or ever the independent variable, then every single effect in the history of the world is caused by time. Huh? No need to employ the scientific method, experiment, ever. And can you tell us how you vary and manipulate time, por favor? What do? Stop your watch? Time is merely the conceptual medium in which all events in what we call the universe take place. You can't physically vary and manipulate concepts, retards. Time is always a constant or control variable. Having to explain this to alleged intellectuals is tantamount to having to explain what a framing square is to a friggin' carpenter, or what a ski slope is to a slalom champion. You're friggin' pretender clown retards. Please return to your true vocation, picking up cans alongside of the road. Supervised. Thanks for freely demonstrating. And P.S., Mr. Internal Medicine Doc. So what treatment do you offer your patients in Shangri-La, Dr. Peckerhead? Time? Well, ma'am, your hemoglobin A1C is 12. Don't worry, love. It's just time causing that. Here, take this watch and call me in 6 weeks. You friggin' bozo! I'm calling you out, Peckerwood. Come on over here. Nathan will not get involved one iota, save for moderation, PRN. If he does, then the debate is forfeited. Time for you to reap the whirlwind, Peckerhead. I'm going to leave you with that just pumped the neighbor's cat look on your face. And special request, can you have your grandparents, parents, husband, and friends and peers attend? Because I'm going to get medieval on your dumb ass. That is all. Thank you.
And with that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who've tuned in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum, which you should definitely join. A massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!